Let's do a sound check. Give me a sound check real fast if you guys don't mind. I don't know what's going on. I have a new system here. Let me put the comments up. See if we can do that at least. And let's take some of that background out and see what happens here. I don't know what's going on, guys. I woke up like this. I don't know why things are what they are. Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, throw a thumbs up or something like that. I don't have many people on here because for some odd reason, it's not showing up on my personal page. It's kicked me out a few times. YouTube is showing something different. I don't have a clue what's going on. Thank you, Mama Bird. She said, look and sound great. Thank you, Preston. Preston says YouTube is good. I don't, for some odd reason, it won't connect over to my personal page. I don't know what's going on. It's saying that it's streaming over there, but I don't know why it's doing what it's doing right now, to be honest with you. I don't have a clue. It has a mind of its own today. I don't know why it's doing. Hold on one second. Let's do this. Let's put me back up there. Let's do this. Let's do it like this. I hope you guys can hear me. I don't know what it is. It's an upgrade in the system, but it's actually a downgrade because all it's doing today is kicking me out and doing whatever it want to do. I'm not feeling it. It's put me in a bad mood. It's put me in such a bad mood already. And I was doing okay. Had a little problem, little slight problem here at the house. I need a water heater, and was dealing with that all day. And that's a pain in the rear end. You hear me? That's a pain in the rear end. A lot of people don't understand that when you're a homeowner, excuse me, let me put this up. When you're a homeowner, you're responsible for everything. And that's when people get to talking that, oh, well, see, that's why I rent. And they'll make up every excuse in the world. Excuse me. They'll make up every excuse in the world. And the reason why owning a home is ridiculous. Well, I'll be honest with you. Here's one of the drawbacks of owning your own properties is you are responsible for the things that go wrong and break. All right. But there is this thing called home warranty. It's just like having your own, I don't know, I guess your own maintenance department, maintenance company. You can call the home warranty. It's just like calling the office and saying, hey, maintenance, I got a messed up water heater or whatever. I don't know. Same situation. It's just they don't always want to cover everything. Okay. And sometimes you have to negotiate with them. You have to let them know. And sometimes it's all about whatever package you bought, whatever you paid for. And it's going to cost me a little bit out of pocket, but that's okay. I mean, I expected. I bought the house. Well, actually built the house in about 15 years ago. The water heater's 15 years old. Time for a new one. All right. It's time for a new one anyway. Anything 15 years old other than my kids, my wife, myself, or something of that nature. It's time for a new one. All right. I don't think I can keep a car for 15 years. So it is what it is. So I had to deal with that most of the day. I don't know where everyone is. I apologize. For some odd reason, the connection is not going to my personal page. I had to send the program from the Wyatt Live page over to my personal page to get more people that watch from my personal page. Maybe we should conduce it down to maybe just one or two, just maybe one Facebook page. Let me just make sure it's streaming everywhere else because for some odd reason we're having technical difficulties. I put it in the chat. Yeah, I'm having technical. Let me get this light. Having technical difficulties. And we're trying to get it all fixed. You got to understand, I'm the producer, I'm the host, I'm the entertainment, I'm the ringleader, I'm the keyboard man, I'm everything on this platform. I do it all. So bear with me a little bit. You understand? And this is coming from a dude that doesn't have much technical um, background in audio and video. Now, I've done a lot of DJing in my life, but it ain't nothing like this. Every once in a while, I would get on the mic playing the records, and I'd be like, somebody say ho, or some shit like that. That was it. Or I'd say and make an announcement. Hey, everybody give a shout out to the birthday guy, birthday girl, or something. I never really did any talking when I was a DJ. I was not a radio DJ or nothing like that. I didn't run ads or anything like that. I was just a regular rock the house, rock the party. I scratched. I was a battle DJ, and we didn't say much. We didn't say much. So we let our talking came from our mixes and things of that nature. That's how we got our thing on. We did it that way. So with all that being said, let me make sure I got what I got going on here the right way. I'm gonna do the best I can. It's very difficult to do this and you get sidetracked with some type of technical difficulty. All right, and that's where we are. So I'm giving a few more people a few minutes to get in the room. Yeah, Jack says, and here's Jack, I'm glad you said that. Maybe we can turn this into an educational moment. I'll pay for it again. Once again, generally I teach lessons from where I lost money. I mean, things that I go through and I lose a lot of money or something like that. I try to tell people. I try to bring awareness to certain things. Jack just said something that's very important, folks, and I learned it today. I'm always open to learn something, and here I am, my age, still learning, and I love it. That's the greatest part about life. One thing I see that's great about life, what I love about life, is the learning. Every day to learn something new. And if I try to learn something new every day, well, here's one of my lessons of today. All right. Jack said people usually neglect water heaters. Don't drain them and don't replace the rod that fights the erosion in the tank from the inside. That's exactly right. I just had a conversation with the plumber, with the company that came out, and he gave me a hint. He showed me, there's a little drain on your water heater that looks like a water hose drain. Okay. And it's on the side of it in the front. I don't know. But he said, get a water hose and connect it and drain it once a year. Okay. Once a year, and get that water out of there so your inside of the water heater won't become rusted and corroded up and things of that. And I've never done it. 15 years, well, close to 15 years, never had any preventative maintenance or anything on them. Who the hell thinks of a water heater? You wake up every morning, you get your ass in the shower, you come home, you take a shower, you go to bed at night, you take a shower, everything working. You wash your butt, you wash your body, and everything's cool. You don't know that you have water heater problems until the shit don't work. Preventative maintenance is a major thing. It's just like a car. I think you can buy the most expensive car in the world, and you can buy a mediocre priced car or an inexpensive car. The truth of the matter is that car is going to treat you as well as you treat it. Okay. And what I mean by that, obviously, is if you take care of your car, the oil changes, all the maintenance, your scheduled maintenances and things of that nature, that car will take care of you. We used to talk about Fords and all that stuff, and Fords die. I remember even hearing the saying, Ford stands for fix or repair daily. All right, I remember all those things. But the truth of the matter is, if you take care of any brand car, if you take care of the car, keep it scheduled maintenance up on it, most cars can last you 150, 200,000 miles. All right, they really can. But you have to keep up with your normal maintenances so you can prevent your little small oil leaks and things that cause other problems. All right, so my lesson came 15 years. It took 15 years to get this one. And the truth of the matter is, I didn't know to drain water heaters. Okay, I'm not some guy I don't know everything about everything. Find on road dead. Found on road. Mama Birch, you drinking again? I'm just like, she gonna kill me. She gonna kill me. Mama Bert's over there banging them back. She said, "Find on road dead." The hell? Hold on. What is that? Mama Bert's is drinking. Oh, that's what Ford stands for. I got you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mama Bird. Don't found on road. Okay, okay, it makes sense now. That's me. I told y'all I'm slow sometimes. I told you I'm slow. Plus, there's a delay. All right, I don't want to make up an excuse. I'm just slow. I'm slow. My fault on that one. So Ford to Mama Bird says, "Find on road dead." Okay, Ford. Got it. Never heard that one before. If I would have heard that one before, I probably would have understood why you said that. Because I thought you sitting there chilling, banging a few back, and was like, just blurted out some shit. I don't know. I'm just playing. I'm just playing, man. I'm just playing. I was just having a good time. But I didn't know Found on Road Dead. I've never heard that before. So what's on everybody's agenda today? It's Thursday. It's Friday Eve, right? Is that what they call it? Friday Eve? Well, I hope everybody's Thursday is going well. It's pretty nice where I'm at. I don't know what's going on with you guys. Today's been a very crazy day for me because I still have to work, but along with my work, I told you I had to deal with the home warranty company, and then I had to deal with a plumber today. And for some odd reason, people, when they see an opportunity to get some money, boy, some people will seize that opportunity. And I mean, um, I'm a negotiator. Okay. I feel everything in life is negotiable. I was raised that way. I drove my mother crazy. If my mother told me I had to be in when the street lights came on, I would try to go find somewhere where the street lights came on a little bit later than the other ones because they didn't come on all at the same time. Some courts came on somewhere else. And how I know this is because I did the research when I was a child. I knew that the street lights down on Lynn Street didn't pop on as quickly as they did on Ezra Charles and down on Armory and all that. Armory and Ezra Charles, those lights kicked on faster. They came on about, I don't know, I would guess 20 to 30 minutes before the street lights came on down at Lynn Street by Washburn. Okay. So I would tell my mama, like, listen, I had no problem, mom, coming home when the street lights come on. But I'm gonna be down on, I'm gonna be down on Lynn. So I'm gonna come home when the Lynn Street lights come on. That's and she would always try to, I was just a negotiator. Can we work that out, mama? You say come home when the street lights come on. Can I come home when the street lights come on where I'm at? And of course, my little ass wasn't on Lynn Street. I just found out Lynn Street lights came on later than everywhere else. So it was my little leverage. But I remember one time, here's another true story about negotiations, and I hated to see this happen, but it's a story that I give everybody. And it's been years. It's been oh man, it's been many and plenty of years. I'm embarrassed to tell you how long ago it was, but I've been very consistent in the man that I am, and living the same way. When I say I'm a negotiator, I've been a negotiator my entire life. I remember needing some work done on my car. This was before the days of, well, I just take it to the dealer and let the dealer handle it, or the warranty from the car. This is the days where we used to go buy buckets and shit. And, we was buying our starter kits of cars. Well, I needed some brakes done on my car. And I rolled into that not AutoZone, pardon me. What is the brake? It was a brake place. I brake something. It was one of them yellow and black sign places. And I rolled up in there. And because I had a little 190E, I was always into the Benz game. But because I had one of them, sometimes people see you coming and they think they got one, coach. Got me one. They didn't know that I wasn't one of them little dudes out here on the street that was just throwing money away and doing stuff like that. So what I did, I rolled into CarX. It was CarX. Okay, that was the name of the company. Up in Avondale, not Midas, Jack. It was CarX. CarX got the same situation going on, a yellow sign with the black lettering. So I roll in CarX. I got my little 190. That was the baby Benz back in the day. It was sharp. Some of y'all remember that little teal, little thing. It wasn't Meineke, LaDonna, it was CarX. They all got the same color sign. Y'all right. I'm just telling y'all it was CarX. So I roll in CarX, and the dude, we get in I pull in, right? And when I pull in, he tell me to go, pull into the little bay, and they put my car in there, and they gonna check my brakes. And he was like, "Well, we're a little overcrowded now. Jack gonna go off on my little 190." He said 190E was a piece of underpowered shit, bruh. It probably was, but I was benzed up. You could tell me and everybody else. My partner, my brother Montez Johnson, had a gray one. We all had 190s. It was just what it was. We didn't know the difference from 550s, and we didn't even know the difference between diesel and gas. We just had our little shit, and we was cool. We was good. So I pulled my 190 in, and he was like, "Oh man, we gonna need probably a couple hours because there's a line. There's a lot of people here. We gonna need a couple hours, but come back." And I'm young, so I'm thinking to myself, well, I just go over. Y'all know there was a KFC right there. There was a Frisch's down the street. We're talking about the CarX in Avondale. So I go over to get me something to eat at the Frisch's down the street. I'm gonna sit there and chill while they check my brakes. So I come back. Now I know this has happened to a few people in life. You ever took your car to the to a car place for something that don't require them to get under the hood? You look, I come back from trying to get my brake. I'm eating, I ate, I go back to the dealer or to the car spot, and dude got my car sitting up on the ramp, and he got the trunk open, all the doors open. And it looked like he blew it up. They call that in the industry blowing up the car, where you open up the hood, the trunk, and the doors. I'm saying to myself, why are you under my hood? They always want to find some other shit wrong with what you take it in there for. And they always tell you, here, you're this low. I can't, Lincoln and Reading Road, right there, Donnie. You know what I'm talking about. They always got this against the law ass shit to tell you about your car. You know what I'm saying? Back then. All right, they still do it to this day. I just ain't never been I don't go to car X's and all that shit anymore. But they always want to run the numbers up on you. And I'm telling you, once I looked at dude when I got back to my car, and I seen my car sitting up on the ramp. There ain't no tires off, but you got the hood up, you got the doors open. I'm like, what is all of this? So I asked dude, I was like, bro, what's going on with my car? How we looking? He said, Jack said they have to check fluid and brake boosters. I get it. I was 20. All right. I'm a little older than that now. You see what I'm saying, Jack? I didn't know. But let me get to this story. You'll understand why I felt the way I felt, because I be around a lot of bullshitters. I was around a lot of snakes in the grass back in those days. I didn't trust people when it came to money. I still don't, but it was worse back then. So I get in there and I get to discussing the guy, what's all wrong with my car. And he says, well, you need brake pads, you're going to need rotors, you're going to need this, you're going to need that, you're going to need this, you're going to need that. And my bill came out to like $1,300 back then. Back then, it was $1,300. I looked at dude, I was like, man, I ain't got no $1,300 for all what you talking about doing and this and this and this and that. And as I'm doing that, I see this sister coming. I mean, she was but she looked like she might have been like she obviously was a PhD, or, she was well manicured. She was well put together as far as, she had her shit together in life. She rolled in that same place in a Jaguar. And I see her out there, and she's bringing her car in for some type of service or whatever. And it was obviously brake work, because I overheard the conversation after. I'm getting too far ahead. I get to talking to the dude about my shit on my car. And I went all the way down from $1,200 and something dollars, like $1,300 and something dollars. I got him all the way down to like $400. All the way down. Oh, I don't really need this. I don't really need that. Oh, you could do without this. You could do without that. You could do with this. You could do. So I get him all the way down to $400, Jack. $400. I feel like a champion. And I'm like, okay, this is going to work out. Well, I overhear the lady comes in, the sister comes in, and she is now talking to them about her car. And you know what? That lady stood there. They told her like 13, $1,400 for the same type of stuff, like brake work and all that. And you know that lady didn't budge a nudge. She didn't say nothing. She didn't say, "Oh no, that's a little bit more than what I really want to spend." She didn't say nothing. She paid that shit. She actually paid the 13 or 1400. It's been 20 years. I don't remember. She paid. It's been longer than 20 years to be honest, but she actually paid that tall ass number. She didn't negotiate. She didn't evaluate the situation. She didn't ask any questions about, well, can I do this without doing that? Can I do this without doing? And I don't understand why people do that. I don't understand why we pay what they say. And for some odd reason, just my experiences in life has always let me know that when you're dealing with salespeople, there's always room to wiggle. It's not necessarily that you're going to get bad service or you're not going to get everything you need. Instead of me buying, okay, Jack, you'll know what I mean when I say this. Instead of me buying brand new rotors, we just discussed getting my rotors turned. You feel what I'm saying, bro? Like instead of getting brand new rotors, they turned my rotors, and then I just got brake pads. All right. So that took off quite a bit of money. That took off quite a bit of money. And then instead of getting this other thing done, or it just came down where I just was thinking to myself, let me work this shit out where I can at least get it down to half. And I end up getting, close to being half, a little bit better than half. But the sister just came in there and stroked the check or whatever. She paid her whatever they say, that's what they pay. And I just never really been that type of guy. I don't care if you the plumber coming to my crib and you coming in the house thinking you about to hit a lick. You gonna work for that money. And I don't mean you gonna work by cutting the hole, putting a new water pressure on the hose on the pipeline. I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about you gonna work for the money that you asked me for. You are absolutely going to work. Dante says, I own a Jaguar. I always take my car to a mechanic that knows Jags and Range Rovers. I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. I don't know a lot about cars, but I know what cars stay in the shop. And you just named two of them. No disrespect. I'm just saying, I will never buy a Jaguar. Okay, only because I don't have time for that. I mean, I don't like taking the cars that I have just to go get regular servicing. Your A and your B servicing. I don't like taking none of my cars to the dealers for just the service. I'll take it because where I go, they give me a loaner. They give me a car to drive, until this shit is done and over with, and it usually take a few hours. But the truth of the matter is, man, there's just some cars that I won't buy because of the reputation of how easy they get put in the shop. And Jaguars is one of them. And my number one is the Range Rover. That car probably has a history of staying in the shop more than any car that I've ever heard of. All right. I think I would buy it. I shouldn't say this because now you're gonna got some people. Oh, he think he all that talking about he wouldn't drive one of those Hyundais. I got a Hyundai, but I would never buy a Honda. I shouldn't say never buy. The Hyundais that I was familiar with in my days, I would never buy a Hyundai because of the reputation. All right. But now let me just say this to you, since you want to think that I'm trying to be all uppity. Um, I wouldn't buy a Jaguar or a Range Rover. And those are high-end cars that I know aren't really what I want to be dealing with. So now hopefully that'll balance the sheet out of you thinking that I'm trying to be all uppity about the cars that I drive or some old shit like that. It's not that at all. There are certain cars that I just won't buy or deal with. I won't even rent one. In other words, when you go on vacation or you go somewhere, when I go, I deal with a particular rental car company, and I don't have a problem. You know, there's Fords. There's some cars that I will definitely take. There's certain cars, no, you can't, because I don't want to be that mistake that weekend when I got shit to do and I'm pulled over um on the side of the road because I had a mechanical problem. I don't want to be that guy. Not that weekend. Not the weekend that I want to be stress free. I don't need anything that might get me stressed out. So that all being said, yeah, there's some high end cars that I just won't deal with. All right, I won't deal with them. Lewis Johnson, CK says we was all born dumb. The difference between me and everyone else is I remained. At least you're honest. Oh, y'all funny, man. LaDonna says, I have a Hyundai. Don't take it personal, sis. I just remember when Hyundai, to be honest with you, Hyundais actually look really nice. This ain't me on no ass kissing, because I'm going to tell you another thing. Hyundai and Kias look a lot better than they did when they first came out. It's practically the same car, to be honest with you. But Hyundai and Kia make a really, I can't speak on the mechanical side of it, but Hyundai and Kia make really nice cars now. I remember trying to get a Kia. This is some stuff that y'all gonna be like, oh, there we go. But this is the truth. I have receipts. Paul White, Mama Deb's husband, him and I we've known each other since I was a young man, and he was my information piece of learning MID programs, minority development in car dealerships and things of that nature. I was too young. I had zero money, but I had some experience in finance, experience in sales. I had all the experience stuff, but I didn't have the $50,000 that was needed to be able to start a dealership. And this is what's sad about that. The dealership that I knew of that had the Kia dealership, the very first ones was Castrucci Kia on Coleraine Avenue. They're not there anymore, but that was the very first, if not the first, it was the first or the second Kia dealership in the city of Cincinnati. And I guess it's been long enough that I can spill the tea and talk the business about it, because I learned a lot. I did finance, so I learned a lot about that stuff. The Castrucci family didn't get that Kia. They got that Kia dealership for practically nothing. They gave them a franchise. This is the beauty of being in a startup. For all my entrepreneurs, this is very important. They gave the Castrucci family a Kia dealership pretty much for nothing. All right, with me trying to struggle and get $50,000 and then try to go in the MID program and qualify for it and all this old stuff. Here you have an established dealership already, who, mind you, dad started his dealership. It's a family business. His dad started his dealership back in the 80s or something like that, maybe the late 70s. He was a mechanic. So he started from the ground up. These guys, you can say whatever you want to say about the white boys, this, the white boys, that, or whatever. These guys started with their father being a mechanic. The mechanic learned the business, got into the back end of being a parts manager and learning the intricacies of how the industry works. And then he ended up with his own car dealership. And then his sons branch off. That's why you see all these Castrucci auto malls in the Midwest. Okay. And I mean, they were the blueprint for me. I didn't have a daddy who was a mechanic. My daddy stole cars for a living. I'm just being honest with you. That's why I'm going to he'll tell you. He'll tell everybody know what them dudes was doing. But hold on. Okay, that was a message from my daughter. Yeah, I didn't have a father that taught me the industry of automobiles. I would have been to the penitentiary if I followed his lead on that shit. That all being said, the Castrucci family has auto malls across the Midwest now. Dayton, Cincinnati. I believe they might have something up in the Cleveland area, and on your way to Cleveland, they got some shit. And I know the dad started that whole thing. And here's the thing. There was a program called the MID program. I didn't have 50,000 to get in that program. I was a young man and I was I was going through school. I was doing a whole lot of different stuff. And I really wish that would have worked out for me, but I couldn't get in the program because we didn't have the chatter. Well, the Castrucci family, moral of the story is this: $10,000 they got their first Kia dealership for. They got their floor plan through the banks, which I don't know if y'all know this, but dealerships don't own those cars. The banks own those cars. Did y'all know that? Let's do a little lesson. There's this thing in the industry called floor plan. All right. This is what I do. Some of you guys know I'm in the bonding business. And one of the things that I do is I bond insurance. I bond things that need to be protected by insurance. That's what we do at my company. That's one thing. That's several things that we do. That just happens to be one thing. Well, anyway, floor plan is something that the dealerships pay for. So, for instance, you go to a Ford dealership, and they might have 150 brand new cars, brand new Fords, 10 of them in the showroom, and they got a hundred. They might have 140 brand new Fords sitting out. Let's say Kia, they have 140 Kias sitting out on the lot. Well, in most cases, unless you're the Weilers of Cincinnati and these older guys who have been in the business long enough, they can afford their own inventory. But these startups and these guys who don't like using their own money, they basically borrow the money for their inventory from the banks, and it's called floor plan. They might have $1 million worth of floor plan out on their lot. And what they're paying is anywhere from 1 to 3% a month for that inventory. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they're paying a percentage. They're paying like 1% or 2 or 3%, depending on what kind of deal they have, 1 to 3% floor plan. So Fifth Third might floor plan their entire inventory. Most of them own their own used cars. It's the new car inventory that they floor plan. So I'm saying to myself, if I could get 50,000, I had zero credit. I had zero business credit. I had zero background with the bank. I didn't have any credit line with them whatsoever. So to get $50,000, if I would have been able to do that at that time, that would have been a major accomplishment. But let me tell you what would have been the furthest hurdle to make: inventory. To get 100 cars, brand new Kias or something like that in the inventory, I would have needed floor planning. And I don't know if someone with very little money would be able to afford to pay 2% of $1 million, okay, per month. And that's the thing. It was very discouraging to have all the information that you needed to be successful, but you didn't have, and I'm just going to make it about me. I didn't have the access to the cash, to the money, to be able to sustain it. It is the most frustrating thing in the world, ladies and gentlemen, to know how to do something but not be able to do it. To watch dealerships in the Midwest, in the city of Cincinnati, let's just say Cincinnati, it was very frustrated to have all this business that I know that we could be part of and have a black owned car dealership. And I don't even like to be all about that black owned stuff. It's just being able to do an own, to go from, the projects to owning a car dealership in your city. It could be major. You see what I'm saying? And that's how you build family wealth. And that's the level I was on. However, I went and got all the information. I got it. I put the work in. I got all the financials. I know exactly what needs to be done. But the people that I knew, we couldn't scrape no shit. I could do a house party with all the people I know, and we wouldn't have been able to rub $50,000. We couldn't have rubbed $10,000 together. You know what I'm saying? Everybody would have been like, I ain't got it. I ain't got 500. If I could have got $500 from 100 people, I could have. That's why I am who I am today. Because of the fact that I remember this was so long ago. This was 30 something years ago. This was so long ago. But those are the moments that make me understand still to this day why it's important to share certain information with certain people, and only serious people. I'll never have a business conversation with anyone that's just gaming and playing and just acting stupid. And I don't have time for that. And I don't want to waste my energy with any of that. Or I don't want to have a conversation with anyone that undervalues the value that you bring. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they just think you bullshitting, or they think, oh, nah. There's a lot of people that don't believe you can make $1 million. They believe you can talk about making $1 million, but they really don't think that you can make $1 million. And the reason why they don't think that you can make $1 million is because they know that they can't make $1 million. There's a lot of people that gauge how far you can go by how far they've been able to go in life. See, people that have been successful understand that the only thing that's stopping people from being successful is another try, and then another try. And then when I failed, I'm going to try again. That's the only difference between people who are successful and people who are not. The people who are successful tried, and tried again. Most people who are not successful, they find some success in telling people how they was once at certain points, and then they got to this and this and this and that, and then it fell apart because they got all these excuses. They got more excuses than the dude going to jail. Okay. But the truth of the matter is, I watched what seemed to be who I thought was a rich guy. I watched Steve Castrucci, who father pretty much opened the door for that industry for him. I watched him struggle trying to get where they are today. It's not easy when you have the pressures of your father who know it all and all this. And, I watched him. I was right there next to him. And I watched how difficult that industry was. But you know what I learned in that? I learned that if he could do it, I know I can do it. Ed says, Wyatt, with those guys, I think y'all could have come up with that money. I can't. Ed, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even really want, like, the dudes that I knew that I know that I could have got $10,000, $20,000. Look, one thing that I've had in life, Ed, is very good judgment in who I choose, no Diddy, to get in bed with when it comes to certain things. And I've never been a dude that took dope man money. I never took street money to do anything that I needed to do. I would go get a job and stack. I would go do things. I would never. I wouldn't take money from a gambler, and I wasn't taking money from no streets, because it's just most. I grew up with this ethical thing of the way you get it is the way you lose it. You feel me? Like, if I'm dealing with some shitty people to get what I'm looking for, to get what I want, chances are what I get out of it is going to end up being bad. Like, it's going to be shitty. It's going to be crappy. It's not going to be good. So I tend to think frames ahead before I get into situations. I know who to go in business with and who not to go in business with. And I knew that at an early age. And yes, you're right, Ed. I probably could have came up. That's why I said it the first time, like, we couldn't put 50,000 together. We probably could. But everybody that has a few dollars is not who you want to go in business with. Just because they have money don't mean they have business sense. Just because they have a few dollars don't mean that you really want to be associated with them. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, you're right, Ed. I probably could have. But you know what? The banks would have asked me, well, where did you get this? And how did you get that? And then when the banks ask, or when certain things start coming around asking, that could be a problem. And, I've been accused before, back in my younger days, when something got hot for somebody, some shit got hot for somebody, then they turn around and they start looking at everybody that know what level they on, and then they start blaming everybody. It ain't never the shit that they do, Ed. It ain't never the being out here shining and profiling and screaming, and it's never their fault. They never make themselves hot. They always think somebody told on them. So I don't deal with people that I'm gonna have to be ducking. I don't deal with people that I know gonna be talking crazy and be coming at me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't about to do that, because number one, most of those people are not in the business of losing money like that. They'll let a dude burn on it. They'll lose their money on a re-up. I hate to go this way with it. I'm just telling you the mentality of some of these streets, motherfuckers. They will get burned. A girl will run off with their money and they just be like, they'll get robbed out here on this. Donna, you hear me? Donna, you hear me? They'll get Donna. It's Donna here. I ain't saying she the one that's robbing them. Okay, just Donna, are you here? These dudes will let street dudes will rob them, and they know that they got robbed by these persons, and they ain't gonna do shit to them. But let an honest businessman, let somebody like me come around and borrow 10,000, and I ain't got it in 2-3. I don't have it in 2-3 months. I don't have it in 6 months to give back to them, because I've invested it into the thing that I told them about. Street dudes don't know nothing about that slow grind. They don't know anything about that. They all about the quick flip. I can't get $10,000 from a street dude and he gonna be like, okay, when I'm gonna get it back? And I tell him, man, it could be a year. He ain't going. He gonna want $50,000 for his 10 if he gotta wait for it for a whole year. That's not how real business work. I am a businessman that if I make a quarter on the dollar, I understand that that slow grind is a long grind, and I'm going to be making a quarter on the dollar, until I can do better, and I'm fine with those margins. But there's some dudes, shit, I gave you $1,000, man. I want 2,100 back tomorrow, next week. They don't understand. They don't get it. And I don't live in that world. I'm from that world, but I don't participate in that world. I know the do's and the don'ts. And I'm not getting in that. But you know what I'm saying. What did you say? Ed said, okay, you right. I know the same guys. Yeah. I respect them. Shit, you got 10,000 to get to a fool, go ahead and get it. But I ain't gonna be the one to tell me you're gonna give me 10,000 in a week or two, in a month. I gotta give you 1,500. I gotta give you 15,000 back, bro. I'm trying to do something legitimate. They don't want legitimate grind. They don't want legitimate pace money. That's not how it go. It's like when I talk to people, when I give little things about stocks, little things. I'm not a stockbroker. I don't know the intricacies of the stock game. I just know I got enough common sense to be able to say, okay, this is a good move. It's going to be a slow move, but it's a good move because, okay, I can put $1,000 over here and it could grow and I could probably make $20 a month on it. $20 a month, bro, you serious? Well, yeah, unless something pop. You know what I'm saying? Something could pop. I'm okay making $20 a month or $50 a month on $1,000 investment. I'm okay with that. Man, I gave that motherfucker a stack and he gave me $50. 3 months later. He crazy. It's legal money. You don't have to duck and dive the police for it. And just stack it, flip it, keep it going, reinvest it. But we seem to want this instant overnight gratification, and the grind don't pay. Listen, I was always taught if it come easy, it ain't worth having. If it come fast, it ain't worth having. I found that out early in life dealing with girls. Any girl. And I had to, yeah. Mama Burks, they about to be mad at me. They about to be mad at me when I tell them this one. Because it's going to be a little conceited. All right. I wasn't a real ugly dude growing up. Okay. So I had this mixed thing going on in my mind. I was really messed up as a kid because I was like, as a younger dude, I was really messed up because if a girl came and she was too easy for me to holler at, I was confused. Was it because I'm really that guy? Like, oh, I'm slick, I'm cool, I'm kind of laid back. I'm on the handsome end because that's what they told me. So I'm thinking I pulled her because I'm me. But I didn't know that ain't it all the time. She just easy. She like that with everybody. And there was some times where I was able to pull one and she wasn't messing with nobody. And the only ones that kept me from messing with her was my hating ass partners that be like, you messing with her? Oh man, she this and she that. And then I fell for that too. So I was a little confused growing up. Like, I don't want anything to be too easy for me when it comes to women. I didn't want it to be easy. If it's easy, man, it ain't going to be worth having. So I ran off of that. And it's the same thing in life. Anything that I see that's coming at me and it's way too easy, I mean, it don't have to be climbing every hill, but I'm just saying, we all learned that easy, it's just not worth it. A lot of fast money, easy situations and cons and all that, it's just not worth it. Let me go to the phone lines real fast before I lose the caller. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with? Uh-oh, hold on, caller. Hold on, let me get you going. Boy, it's been a day today. All right, caller, are you there?
I'm sorry, sir. I had you on mute. I forgot.
Oh, okay. I thought that was my phone.
My bad.
That's
No,
okay.
it was me twice in a row because this happened yesterday. It's unacceptable, Wyatt. It's unacceptable. I hold myself accountable every time, sir.
All right, brother.
Every time.
That's okay, CK. We'll get through it. What's happening, man?
Yes, I would like to tell you about your soliloquy. This is financial literacy you are giving the public on your platform today. You talked about making $1 million. Then you talked about I like your analogy about the 10,000 and that if they wanted to wait a year to 50,000. That was great math, sir. Great math. Because
Okay.
I think you're right on point with that. Like you said, if you give them 10, they're gonna want 50 to 62,000 back after 1 year.
Okay. Is that
'Cause,
what you is that what you
yeah, I
charge?
mean, it went up a little bit because you giving your price back when you was in there. But you know what I'm saying? Well,
Is
you
th-
were never in it, but I'm talking about back in your day when your people was in it. You
yeah,
feel me?
is that
But
what you
now it went up a
charge?
little bit.
Is that what you charge, CK? If I let me get 10, CK, let me hold 10 what I owe
Right, right. About 62. I want
you.
62 up there.
You want
Right.
62 on 10?
On the year,
Damn,
no, you talking about the time though.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
said
yeah.
a year on a year comeback.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. That's why we know when we dealing with the Wyatt Live, you ain't dealing with no buster. This is real official. He coming from the heart with this.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
now you tapping in the cats like me to know, oh, you know what he doing.
Yeah, because look,
And
if you
then-
go to the bank and get 10,000 on a 7% interest rate, how much are you paying on the APR on a yearly basis? See what I'm saying? A
Right.
10,000 will probably cost you about $1,400 over
Exactly.
over a 5-year period. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah, this is what, because you
2,000.
remember when I first met you, I was homeless. I ain't had nothing. You feel me? What, income zero? So now look at me 2 years later. What, I'm sitting at what? 33.5? That's better, a lot better than zero, right?
Wee, you killing
33.5? Where I'm gonna be in 2 years? At 75? See,
CK
remember?
out here killing their ass.
That's what I'm saying. But that's because of the help of financial literacy, like Wyatt. If you
I
listen to
just
his
told
show,
you to go
he give
get a
you game.
GED. All right, that's all I told you.
No, what I'm saying. But if you listen to your, I don't know. See, you just do the platform. Do you watch your show? If
I
you
don't.
watch it,
I
you would
don't.
see that.
I don't.
You
I
don't?
promise you.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
am not a Wyatt Live viewer. I don't watch
Yeah,
it.
that's what be best. And that's what's wrong with half of you African American husbands. Y'all don't watch y'all footage. You have to watch it to get better. Because you got to understand, I'm getting financed, just like you just told me. Okay, 10, you give somebody 10, you want 50 back. So you saying stop being so greedy. You saying I'm asking for too many points with 60. Because now I'm being too heavy. But I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just doing your math like, okay, but you know, you got to do the, you know, stuff went up.
Yeah.
Since then, since 2000 and the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But this is how you, like you said, you change the mindset. We're about getting money. We're all about hustling. We're all about hustling, sir. When you listen to Wyatt, giving you game on, look, this is how I made it out. I didn't have to get down and dirty with the game. I went into the books, higher learning, and then I put it in my seeds. See, now you got a whole pattern going. Now we got a pattern of success, pattern of longevity.
Okay.
And I like how you said, you was talking about your daughters. You said, oh, you ain't going to be able to. I watched your show again today. You said, you're not going to be able to get them to pay for the dinner.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about, sitting with my daughters and my wife.
Yeah. That Pops so bred it up. And this is how, like you said, this is how us black men take care of our daughters, especially, but our kids, daughters and sons. We balling so good, they don't have to ask y'all for nothing. Come to me. That's how our mindset is. You think just like that. And that's how most black men that I know think just like you. They bred it up because they fathers. And you know you had to work that much harder because of your situation. And that's why you hit the jackpot and put both of them through graduate, super graduate. But I didn't know it cost $500,000 to get your law degree.
No.
When you said that yesterday.
Medical school.
What was that?
Medical school.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what your daughter doing? She a doctor?
She's in school to be a physician, yes.
Hey, that's, you know, doctor is harder than an attorney.
I would definitely say so.
Yes, and an attorney is elite, but like you said, she going for the harder one. That's greatness. See, it all started from where you say Lincoln Courts. Where was you at?
I grew up in Laura Holmes.
Laura Holmes. That's what I'm saying. This started from Laura Holmes, so nobody would have bet on you, sir. It's 2/12. You know that's my birthday. Nobody would have bet on you, sir. Okay. They would have said you was gonna be nothing. He gonna be nothing. He gonna go to prison or he gonna die. The best he gonna be is a garbage man. You didn't took it.
I don't know if people know this. Hey, CK, I don't know if people know this. I don't know if you know this. I know a lot of people from the hood go to jail, but most people from the hood don't go to jail. A lot do go, but not most of us.
1 out of 3 of us going, sir. One
It's,
out of 3
it,
of us black men are going,
it's
and you
probably
know this, sir.
it's probably higher than that, but it's not all of us. It's not most of us. Okay, it's not most of it. And you narrowed it down to men. Okay, so the man numbers are going to be higher than overall
That's
as black
ridiculous.
folks.
1 out of 3. That means you going, so you can look at
It's
3
going to
black
be high.
babies
It's higher than
and
that.
pick.
It's
You know,
higher.
one of these 3 going.
It's
for
higher
sure.
than that when you throw men. If you seclude it to just men, it's higher than 1 in 3. It's higher than out of 10, 3 gonna go. It's higher
And
than
this
that.
is why.
But the ladies keep us a little bit more. They keep our stats down as far as imprisonment out of the hood because they help us keep the numbers down. But they go through the same stuff. I mean, it's a different type of situation, but we all facing the same type of obstacles. You see what I'm saying? But
yeah, because listen, when they are born, their main obligation in life when they born is to murder one of us, and that's black men, and to have sex with one of them, that's black women. So that's their main goal in life when they're born. We what make us good to be black, like you said. We are the have-nots. We don't have nothing like it. So all us. So I think what we went through with slavery and crack made you the great man you are today because you had to go through the real stuff. See, now it's the satin sheets. It's all about the satin sheets, but you had to go through the food stamps to get to the satin sheets. You must understand this, Wyatt. It didn't come easy. You had to study every day.
Yeah. Well, I think more that, you know what was harder than school for me?
What's that? Tell me.
Peer pressure and just being able to make the right choice. If that make any sense to anybody. Like, it's very difficult when you're around what you are around each day with your friends. And you know what I'm saying? Certain like friends. Like, not all my friends was in the streets. That's kind of like what gave me a lot of option. Because man, I could wake up one day and be with the thugs, or I can go play baseball with my partners. Or, you know, I didn't have all thugs around me 24/7. I was one of them dudes that was athletic. I could play ball and shit like that. And then I had that one thing where I can relate to my partners that was in the streets. So it was a good combination. So I just think that I don't want you to think that it was like I did something that was extra special. I haven't. I just done what I was supposed to do. I don't. That's why.
That's because you were stuck here. You didn't get to travel. You were stuck here in Cincinnati. You didn't get to travel as a youth.
No,
that's what made you great. You didn't get. Did you go to
CK? It's just the opposite. I see. That's why I don't come on here and try to act like I don't understand, because I clearly understand what makes your choices in life is generally your surroundings, the people that your mama and them let you be around. I was very fortunate. By the age of 14, I was out of Cincinnati. Now I had 14 years to F all the way up if I was really going to be an F up. All right, so I didn't start traveling heavy till I was about 14 years old.
What city was your first to?
I went to Oklahoma for the very first time, and I experienced things that I had never experienced before in my life. I started learning. I was an asshole at 14 years old when it came down. I was a Black Panther. I was already getting tapped down.
Oh my God! And you picking against the Thunder, and that's your first place you went when you left Cincinnati. You need to roll with the Thunder. What you going with the Pacers for then? If that's your first city you went to, this is personal, sir.
Okay, you might be right. For those that don't know, he might have a point, because he's wondering why I didn't pick. I'm not picking OKC because of my history of living in Oklahoma. I'm picking. I got tickets. I go to the Pacers games. So that's more closer. It's like if the Saints. Okay, I used to live in New Orleans, so I'm kind of like a Saints fan, like in one kind of way, but not like that. You know what I'm saying? But But I'm just saying.
But the Bengals your heart though.
Bengals my joint. No matter what happens, win, lose, or draw, that's my team.
Right.
So let me get back to something, because I think it's important that people understand. At 14 years old, I'm militant. I'm already a little dude from the hood that's been brained. I've been told everything that most little kids from the hood get told. I had a lot of love. There was a lot of love for me, as far as from my mama and my aunts and my granny and all that. I had a massive love, like most people do. The difference is once you get twisted and go to a different environment and you feel a certain way about how shit is in life, but then those feelings aren't the same once you go off and see how things go. Like you get around people that you think don't like you and they don't even know you, but you in your mind think, these motherfuckers don't like me. I've been taught that they don't even want me around them. And that it just was so far from the truth. See what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that I didn't face any obstacles. I'm not saying that I've never been called the N-word, but I could tell you this right now. I'm not angry at white people or none of that shit, okay? But I can guarantee you I can name 10 people that y'all listen to, from radio podcasts to people in your neighborhoods to your community leaders, that have never been called a nigga in their life by a white person. But you talking to one right now that when I lived in New Orleans, in Louisiana, a white man called me a nigga that one kind of way. I've experienced that type of racism. So don't think that I don't know that it don't exist, but I also know how it exists and what it does. And some of the times that people talk about that's racism, they don't really know what racism really is, because they've been trained to believe everything is racism and race is racist. So I've been through it. I understand.
We can live like that, sir.
We've been living like that, brother. But
everything is corrupt, sir. Don't trust nobody. You remember Scarface? Who do I trust? Me. That's who. You don't trust nobody. All of them racist. When they say the N-word, I don't care who it's from. It hurt. I don't care if it's a black man said it. It hurt me, Wyatt. It hurts the same because it's a degrading term. Don't refer to me like that.
But at the same time, bro, I've had my own people. And we all have. There's somebody in here right now. We can say whatever. Y'all can say whatever you want to say. You can deny it. You can continue to be denial or whatever. There's some people that look just like you that have treated you worse than any other race or any person on this planet. They have used you up. They didn't talk bad about you. They done you bad behind your back. They stole shit from you. They done everything that you bitch about some other race class of people that they have done. And those people ain't never done nothing to you. You talking about some shit they did to maybe your people, but they ain't never done nothing to you directly. But you know all the stories. You got all this shit to say, but you don't have that same type of blowback or anger for people that actually have done that to you themselves to you.
Mr. Wyatt, what you're saying is you're speaking my testimony. It's like my spirit got in you. That is exactly what I'm going through now. Remember, I told you I had that family. It's the family feud. And like you said, these people knew you their whole lives. So the jealousy and the envy and the hatred is real. So now when you got your whole life, you can look back and see the murder attempts, the burglaries. That must be who took it. You know how some came up missing in your house?
Inside job.
There it is. But you put together years later how this person felt about, it must have been them that stole my wife's neck.
Right. Let me ask you this, CK. Let me ask you this. I got a text message from somebody that told me that they have a family member that got shot in the head last night in Cincinnati. A woman got shot in the head and over the Rhine last night, and she's in critical condition. A family member of that young lady, well, she's a lady. She's like probably 30 or 40 years old, I believe it is. Got shot in the head and over the Rhine last night. I'm wondering, is that a conversation that's going on in Cincinnati right now? And I'm wondering who actually did it. Was it the Klan? Was it no. The people? Who was? I mean, it probably was somebody that looked like us.
And this is what I'm saying. This is what it leads to, sir. The envy and jealousy leads to gunshots. Because like I said, these people that I'm talking to, they have been shot before. I've never been shot. But you start so much damn drama with your mouth, with your tongue, that you've been shot up and people around you been shot and hit. This is what I'm talking about. And you get hit by other black people, like you said. Ain't no crackers, ain't no Caucasians, it's all us. So stop blaming them when we are the number one enemy to you, another black man. You get what I'm saying? So
CK,
I'm not getting none from them. They the ones tasting the bullet. You just said this lady got shot in the head. That's what we're talking about. It's the hatred we have for one another.
CK,
you got to stop that.
CK, I'm not foreign to what you're talking about, brother. I've heard you talk about that before. I've heard you say it on this platform. I've heard you talk about it on Emmanuel's show. I understand exactly what you say, and sometimes it's said a little differently than how I would say it, or it came out at a different time, during the conversation, and it might not have wrapped around the subject. But I know exactly what you're talking about, and I know what you're saying when you say things like that. But yeah, that's you know where I'm coming from when I talk about
Yeah,
there is a
because
level
you
of
the victim like me. Wyatt, you're talking from the same perspective as me. You're the victim of these people. And when black people coming after me, I'm gonna speak on it. So I'm gonna say, okay, you the guy that do that. You the one that says, white people are getting it, white people oppressed. You watch all the cultural shows, Africa. But then you got a beef with me. Do I owe you money? Did I sleep with your wife? Did I do anything to you? No, you beefing with me because you jealous of me. Because you love my personality. I'm too smooth. I know how to meet people. I know how to talk to people. That gets to people that's close to you. So that's why they say keep your enemies close. But when it's your family, it gets complicated. But with me, they're not gonna win a war of words. Like I told my own family, you have to murder me. Don't try to get nobody else to kill me. You have to do it. And you are too soft to kill me. That's why Nipsey Hussle said it pays to have weak enemies. Your thoughts?
I don't believe in a weak enemy.
Uh oh.
I don't
Oh, that's powerful what you just said.
I don't
That's
believe.
powerful.
No, it's just regular. It's just off my head of how I feel about. I don't believe in weak enemies because I think everybody has a strength. The same enemy that you say is not strong enough to shoot and kill you. That's not how you get rid of a lot of people. I mean,
Right. You're
there's
right.
not enough
Damn,
murder.
you got me.
Yeah, there's not enough murderers in this. There's a lot of murderers, but there's more guys that commit. We have a genocide of reputation going on. Like we kill each other. People can kill each other by killing a reputation, and that make other people. It's like association. If you guilty of dealing with somebody by association, other people will cut you off. What they call it is a cancel culture, they call it these days. Like it's almost like that's how they do that thing in politics. I don't want to talk about politics long drawn out, but I'm giving you an example. When you're
Right.
affiliated with somebody's opposite opinions of politics, you're living in a world right now where people don't really want to deal with you, or they'll
Exactly.
use your opinion of politics to make you out to be the bad person, and that cuts you off from people that you really need to be dealing with. It could hurt you in
Thank
it could
you.
hurt you in business. It can hurt you in relationships of things that's going on in the communities. It can hurt you in a whole lot of different ways. And there are master manipulators that know that. That's why when they don't want you to be heard about accountability, they call you a Trumpster. When that's why
There it is.
Marquetta come on here and say that stuff too. Like, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say because these are the things that's happening to my people. But you can call me a
But
Trumpster or whatever all you want. But every time I'm talking about accountability, that don't make me your op.
But Mr. Wyatt, this is what makes me superior to others. I'm 90% of better than everybody else because I am accountable. I do that. Most people that do stuff, they don't admit it. Like if they're a murderer, they don't say they're a murderer. I say,
Well,
yes, I do that. So let me use the example. If you're a person that thinks OJ did it, I just don't even like you as a person. I'll be like, oh man, get up out of here, man. I don't even respect you as so that's what you're talking about. If you're a Trumpster, same thing.
so let me
Donald
ask
Trump,
you, hold on, let me get this straight. Are you telling me that if I have a belief in my mind that OJ Simpson committed those murders, now you don't want to deal with me as a person?
hold on, let me clarify that. I just think you're a gullible person that believes anything that the media says. But yeah,
Okay,
let me.
I
I ain't
can
gonna say I wouldn't
understand it.
want to deal with
I
you as a
can
person, but I'm gonna
respect
think.
that.
Yeah,
I can respect
yeah,
that.
I'll say that.
But here's the thing. I gotta go a little bit further than that. Because
Okay.
to be honest with you, bro, um, if you're not privileged to certain information of these court cases, like the O.J. Simpson trial, the Bill Cosby situation, if you're not privileged to the information and you're just going off what someone is reporting or someone is saying, allegedly this is what's going on. You see what I'm saying? If you're just privileged to that information, you're way far behind in the game because
But why you just knocked me out earlier? But you about to get knocked out. Continue.
all I'm saying to you is you don't know exactly what everybody knows. If you're not sitting in the courtroom and you hear the case and you hear the circumstances and you hear the evidence, you hear this and you hear the thing, you don't hear what they don't want the jury to hear. Like you hear what they told the jury to ignore, or the jury is out of the room, and they're having these conversations, and then the judge bring the jury back in, and then they start up the conversations, leaving out information because they don't think the jury should be able to, judge decides that the jury can't hear that. We're not privileged to all that information. So for me to just sit back and listen to a news company come out on television and tell me something, and that's going to persuade me of guilt or non-guilt, that's not enough for me. So I don't really look. The Bill Cosby situation, it's nothing in the media that they've ever said that convinced me that he's guilty or not guilty. That don't convince me. I use my own common sense of certain things of how it played out. And then when I found out that Bill Cosby, he took a deal for basically admitting drug activity, that doesn't mean that he drugged those women. It just meant there was drugs involved. And what I'm trying to tell people is Mr. Clean, Bill Cosby himself, always spoke about being drug-free, always talked about drugs out of the community, always disassociated himself with drugs. I don't think he wanted to be the guy that was going to turn around and admit to drug usage.
Trash bags or something?
Oh, yeah, I did.
You there? CK? I think CK at work. I think the supervisor walked in. I think the supervisor walked in on CK, and he had to get his shit together or something, like, okay, I got it. I'll get that. I'll get that. That's what I kind of heard. I don't know. But anyway, I just can't base my judgment on a situation on how the media is covering it, because we can all tell, and we can all say this for sure, and this is a fact. The media is driven a certain way, and they're going to they're leaning a certain way, and they're going to definitely make the people that watch their programming, they have to keep their attention and keep it juicy for them, and they're going to mislead. They're going to mislead. It's funny, you all know this lady right here. I brought her up yesterday. Anybody know who this lady is? She's a perfect example of how the media does things. Now, I do know, y'all know that I got a special spot for her because she's a very attractive lady. I've always said I like, she's always cool, but blah, 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 but she's been lying. She's been steering the narrative a certain way. And now that the dust is clearing a little bit, this is the former speaker for Biden. Okay. Now she's saying that she's leaving the Democratic Party. And guess what? Now she's going to become an independent. But she has a book coming out in November. John Pierre. All that time she stood at the podium and said the border wasn't open, that everybody okay in the White House. That wasn't nobody's cocaine. This is all the cheap fakes. All that shit that she's been talking about for 4 years, about 2.5, 3 years. All of it was fake. None of it was real. She stood on her business. She stood her ground. She did an excellent job. But I'm going to tell you, anybody with any common sense knew that every time she was asked a question, they regulated how many media people would come in there and ask questions. Did you remember the guy from Africa, from Africa who went off on him that one time and was like, you never call us. You only call those people right there that are doing things. Y'all remember that? And he got his credentials pulled. He got his credentials pulled because he was asking, why are you only allowing these people over here? We got questions. We've been waiting for 3 months to ask you a question. You see my hand up all the time. I knew she was lying about she wasn't. Yeah, she was lying. I'm not going to defend her. I'm just going to tell the truth. She was lying. She was holding water. She was doing all. See, to be honest with you, when people call me things like coon and all that, yeah, I got to remind you, coon and albino coon and shit like that. I'm just wondering where their mentalities are about shit like that. Because to be honest with you, the true coon is the one that sat up on the stage and did all that play shit. That's the coon right there that won't tell you the truth and will keep these secrets and keep you thinking a certain thing and have everybody in place, keeping everybody on code. That's coon shit. That's the person like the massa on Sundays that kept the Bible on the porch, and he had his wife or his daughter read the Bible to all the slaves in the yard. That's the real sellout. The one that's keeping everybody calm and keeping them believing and not letting other people ask questions and maintaining business as usual. That's the real sellout. It's not the one who set up and asked questions or who has independent thinking and thinking something different or asking questions about, well, what's going on and not worrying about the other side, but only worried about their side. See, when you worried about somebody else, that means you focused on somebody else. You're not really worried about you. My mother never asked me whenever I had a problem like growing up, it was never about what the next door neighbor is doing. It's what we doing in this house. That's how you make it. I don't care what kind of tennis shoes Melvin got on down the street. His mama ain't your mama. I'm your mama. So your mama, we doing what we doing to clean up this house. Mama Birch, where you at, sweetie? How do we keep our archways clean? How do we keep our hallways clean in law homes? 3 doors to every floor, sometimes 4. When it was our turn to keep our hallway clean, we went out and mopped with bleach. We cleaned our hallways up. We didn't care what the person down that hallway was doing. It was about our hallway. We kept our shit in order. We wasn't worried about across the street and how that hallway was over there. Everybody took care of their own space, their own spot. You didn't worry about everybody else and how they was doing things. And usually the ones that was worried about everybody and had everybody on front and hanging out the window and talking about everybody else's business, those are the ones that are not taking care of their business. Them the ones who got the dirty ass hallways. Mama Birch, wasn't it? She said, that's right. We swept and mopped. But who had the biggest problem? You can always tell the biggest ones in the hood that had the problems. They was chaos agents. They kept everybody's business out on the street. They kept all the chaos and confusion. They were the liars. They was the ones that never told on the crooks. They was the famous and the most popular, and everybody loved them. But they had dirty hallways. Can't focus on them. If you focus on them, you might know what they about. That was my biggest argument. Somebody said something the other day. I heard the dude on the radio. He said, all they talk about, they laugh at me because all I do is talk about Trump. They talking about, why do I talk about Trump so much? Well, let me explain to you what they really meant. What they meant was, you've been talking about Trump for 4 years. He's been in office for 4 months. See, you wouldn't talk about the things. Now we all know. I've been knew why you don't talk about yo man. I've been knew. It was what they call a rhetorical question when I was asking way back then. Why you don't talk about what's going on your side? Why don't you big up who you dealing with? Now you see why. They knew. They knew. It was obvious. I got this video. I really want to play it. Did y'all see it in the messenger group of the 2 little girls, the 2 little kids, the 2 little Mexican girls that don't speak English? Did y'all see that in the Wyatt Live messenger group? They out here selling candy and speak English and they can get snatched up. Let me see if I can play it real fast. Let's see if I got it. Everybody laughing and clowning around and all this old shit. What's the name of that thing? Okay, let me see where it is. Laughing and clowning and think it's cute. Well, guess what? My wife and I were on a plane coming back from Phoenix. I told y'all that story. Had 2 migrants, illegal migrants on the plane. Didn't speak English, never been on a plane before. It was very obvious. Where the hell they going? Nobody knows. They didn't even know. Now, I want to know, if you truly have a heart about kids, and if y'all really care, these are for the people that are going to Nicaragua and all this places and all this old goofy shit to check up on immigrants and them getting kicked out. Why don't you figure out why these immigrant kids are running around these streets trying to sell candy and they don't speak English and they on the verge of getting snatched up? They just happen to run into some people like how we were in the hood. And that was, okay, man, come on, man. We're going to cater to the little kid, be cool with them and this and this and that. But the world we live in today is not that kind. It's not really that kind. These little girls could be, listen, man, there's a lot of kids in this country missing. And I put that in the Wyatt Messenger group. And you know what? You always going to have somebody that's going to counter what you say. Sometimes there's a smooth counter and sometimes there's a rough counter, but I get the counter. Sometimes people want to kind of be part of what you're saying. And then they want to say, well, like, I forgot exactly who it was, but I'll give you an example of what they said. I put this in the Wyatt Live Messenger group and they said, this ain't about immigration, Wyatt. There are people, there's even black and white kids out here that are, this ain't about immigration. There are black and white kids out here. There's black kids out here that don't have no homes either. But this ain't got nothing to do with that. And you know it don't have nothing to do with that. Why would you bring a welfare state to the United States of America unless that's what you want to be? You want to bring poor people here with no opportunity. Why would you create a welfare state if you don't want welfare people? Wouldn't you think that you would be proactive and have a system in place before you allowed a welfare state to exist? Or for them to be part of one? Or for them to be, that's like throwing logs on a fire, and the building, it's a building that's on fire. And you're just throwing more logs and gas and lighter fluid and shit on it. Why would you want to be part of a system or be part of a process of bringing people to a country and they have absolutely nowhere to go or nothing to do, and they become a welfare? They become part of the welfare unless you want those people to be that way. Now, for y'all, some of you might laugh at this because you hear the laughing in the background by the guys. But to me, there's a bigger story that needs to be told. Where are these kids? Where are they? What they doing? Where are their parents? What's going on? Why are we allowed? Why is this funny? Check it out.
Who these little motherfuckers with, man?
Hey,
Come here, buy some candy, man.
Bro.
Who is y'all with, man? Give us some money, man. Who
motherfuckers
y'all with?
snatch y'all little ass up.
Don't say that to them. Yeah, buy some candy. Hey, give
Give
some
me
candy.
some candy. How much? Huh? $10.
Golly.
Shit.
Where y'all parents at?
You want 5? Oh no, you got some
Stop
money
kicking my
right
car, man. Nah, that's a dub.
You got some money right here.
All
Yeah.
right, I gotta give them all that bread. G. Stop. All right. Hey, look, stop. Nigga, open the door. Y'all ass bad as hell. Stop, you grown, man. Breaking the car, bro. Go.
Bro, go.
Stop,
Bro,
bro. Stop, G.
bro, that motherfucker.
What you doing, G?
Bro, did you get your money? I don't want the candy. I don't want the candy. No candy.
Go, man. Nah.
No, I just bought it. Bro, yo, leave
Why
it.
y'all grown, man?
Bro, go.
Hey, where y'all parents at? What you say?
No, go, bro, go.
All right, no, we don't want no more. Take it back, man. Give it back.
Yeah. Sell your candy. Go.
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 We get it.
Go.
All right, go. Stop. Stop. They threw the bitches here. And ran.
Crazy, bro.
Not really funny to me. Not really. Not really funny to me. You see what I'm saying? That's not funny to me at all, because you got children like that. If you go to Phoenix, Arizona, it's like that. If you go to Boston, Sierra lives in Boston. she can probably, I don't know, she might agree, she may disagree, I don't know. But if you go to where these sanctuary cities are and you see where they've been overwhelmingly swamped with migrants and stuff to that nature, why would you want a welfare? Why would you want that in your city and you're not prepared for it? You understand what I'm saying? Who would allow that? I know we like to have fun and games and this and that. The reason why I said who's laughing is because of the fact that you can hear the laughing in the background by the men, by the guys. But what if those was those weirdo type dudes? Have y'all seen the streets of LA? Have y'all seen the prostitution and how those girls are out there these days? And you can see that they're all pretty much foreigners. They're pretty much wearing swimming suits and underwear out there now in the streets. Oh, I understand. We get comfortable when it's not around us. Well, let me explain something to you, small town folks. Small towns. You're never first of the chaos. You're never first. It always hit the coast, West Coast, East Coast, and it finds itself hitting the middle, maybe the South after the middle. You understand what I'm saying? That's how it go. And that's why that's why they call it Slow-Hio. You're not watching what's happening to the people in your own country. You too focused on what they want you to be focused on. So if they keep you mad, keep you disarrayed, and you talking about Job Corps shutting down and all that, listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Show me a Job Corps in the United States of America that's been running functionally properly, that hasn't ran a deficit on its city, on its citizens, and that the kids are graduating at a high proficiency level. Show me one. Or do you understand what's going on before you get mad at what somebody told you? Or do you just get mad at the shit that people want you to be mad at? Think about it. Everybody mad at the fact that Drake Hospital is closing down, but ain't nobody did no research about how Drake been over there toe up from the flow up for years. Something hit the news today, and I was reading it. Let me show you. Hit the news today. Job cuts planned. Cincinnati-based Procter & Gamble announces up to 7,000 jobs to be cut over the next 2 years. Now, you already know when news, I'm going to leave it up there for a second. You already know when news like that hit the television or especially social media, because you can't hear what people are thinking on TV, but they sure do express themselves on social media and they leave comments. Right? How y'all like Trump now? Type comments. When in fact, what y'all don't understand, do you know 7,000 jobs to Procter & Gamble? It's 7,000 sound like a lot of jobs. Procter & Gamble is international. Can you really read through this? It says Cincinnati-based Procter & Gamble announces up to 7,000 jobs to be cut. It doesn't necessarily mean that 7,000 jobs in Cincinnati will be cut by Procter & Gamble. Some of those 7,000 jobs could be overseas jobs. This is how easily we are fooled in this language that we speak. Oh, Cincinnati Procter & Gamble about how y'all like y'all new man now. He done got y'all fired too. I bet you them Trump voters in there. You know they are. You know them rich white people and all this old shit. Just look at the headline. If you don't learn to read through the bullshit, you probably would be thinking the way you're thinking. And let's just be honest about something. Procter & Gamble has a ton of factory jobs that are now going robotic. Not to mention AI and call centers these days. Not to mention that there might not be as much incentive to do overseas employing anymore because of AI. Nah, we don't want to think that far out. It's too easy to let a motherfucker tell you what's going on with Procter & Gamble. And you know what? The most people that's saying the shit are people never even walked in Procter & Gamble, let alone work there. Same people with the Job Corps. They couldn't wait to put a black face on a Job Corps building that shut down in St. Louis. Come here, baby. Come here, baby. Tell them. Put the camera on him. Well, I'm 18. I just got here, and I don't have nowhere to go. I don't know. My mama ain't here. My daddy ain't here. I just got here. I only been here a month. Has anybody investigated Job Corps? Has anybody seen how the money been moving? I know. AP said P&G been cutting jobs for years. Come on, AP, you know that, bro. You know what I'm saying. And don't they always do that every year? Nobody said they hired 1,200 people last year, but you hear about the people that they firing. But what do you know about Job Corps? Houseful. When was the last time a plumber at your house and he said, I went to Job Corps? What's the success rate of Job Corps? Somebody pull those numbers out. I don't need them. I don't need them. I don't need them. Have you ever thought about the money that's been abused in the Job Corps brand? Have you ever seen the contracts that have you seen the lawsuits that place face from subcontractors? Do you know anything about Job Corps other than the fact that somebody just told you that they shutting them down? But what you are you're angry. And now you have another thing to pin on somebody and you don't even know the intricacies of what's going on. You don't know the money that they've been dealing with. You don't know that the contractors are suing. You don't know that they're not happy. It's just a bad situation. How about Cincinnati Job Corps? Let's keep it close. Let's keep it close. I remember fighting dudes from Job. Y'all remember down the way. We would throw parties at Lincoln, not Lincoln Center, but what's the Land Street YMCA. And we would throw parties. And just for the record, I was DJ there. So I was there, not on the cool, hanging on the wall with all the girls type shit. I happened to be a DJ there. So I was never fighting, but I would watch Jazzy. I would watch my partners from down the way. They fighting the dudes from Job Corps, the dudes from Chicago, the dudes from Cleveland, the dudes, you know what I'm saying? It was always like that. It was always some badass dudes coming in town from Job Corps, and we was out there banging and fighting with them. I hate to say we. I've had a situation or two where if I don't go out with Jazzy and them, they gonna think that I can't be who I can. When the shit is all over with, they gonna look at me sideways for not being down with them. But the truth of the matter is, man, I ain't never heard nothing good out of Job Corps other than a commercial. And there's probably a brother right now or a sister right now, like, I went through Job Corps. Ain't nothing wrong with Job Corps. It got me through. Job Corps got me through. But they probably ain't got nothing good to say about their experience other than the fact I completed it. I got me some hours in. I was able to get a certification. And I bet you do, Mama Burst, because Darnell it was Jimmy, actually. Rest his soul. Your son, Jimmy, was not to be effed with out here in them streets. Vernon Johnson, appreciate your, we started out rocky a few times, but I appreciate your honesty. He says the national graduation rate of the Job Corps program is 39%. If people are being honest, it probably should have been shut down and replaced years ago, decades ago. Thank you for your input. But let's just be honest. You got people mad at that program being shut down. The money, they didn't stop the money. He didn't cut it up. And it's just us, black people. They just want black people to just be out here suffering. That's your man. There's your man. That's your man. How y'all like him now? Like I said, I'm going to start leaving them cats where they at. I'm not here to try to justify nobody. I'm not trying to justify anybody's actions and their needs. I know what we need to do to do what we need to do. But the first thing we got to do is we got to distance ourselves from people that they on their way out. They about dead. All right. Those type of thinking people are probably my age. And there's a few that's about 10 years, maybe younger than me, that really they coming from the rear end and they think, but my baby's ages, my kids, them 25 and unders, they about done with all that other shit that these old heads been talking. They about done with it. Okay, they about finished. I'm listening to some of these younger people these days. I'm watching how certain people are trying to distance themselves. Didn't y'all hear the young lady tell y'all the other day? Oh, no, Vernon, it ain't like that, brother. He said, why do you think it was rocky? If someone disagrees with you, are you here to exchange ideas or be preached to? No, it wasn't that, Vernon. It was the fact that I just felt like what we disagreed on at one particular day, it's not okay. You can have differences. There's two ways to win a race. All right. You can go the regular route or you can go a longer route. And I just didn't think we was going on a route like this marathon on this particular subject that we were talking about the other day. I didn't see a middle in it. I didn't see in that particular subject a common ground. There is a way to have a common ground when you have a differences, but there are some topics that you just don't. It's impossible to have a middle ground on because you're just far this way and now the person's far that way. There's no middle ground. It's not the disagreement, and sometimes when you disagree with someone, there is a middle. There is a ground that you can find yourself in and say, okay, yeah, that's true because of this. Yeah, that's true because of this. And there might be a misinterpretation of what's going on and y'all find somewhere in the middle. Yes, that happens. But there are some things, Vernon, that you can just be totally like, I just don't agree with it. Like, for instance, I'll give you a perfect example. Some people are okay with the death penalty, and then some people are not. The people that are not okay with the death penalty, they probably can find common ground somewhere by saying, okay, this person has done something so outrageous, so outlandish, they probably deserve to die. You know what I'm saying? Even though they don't believe in the death penalty, but they would say to themselves, my God, this person doesn't even deserve to live. You see what I'm saying? And that person who believes in the death penalty versus one that doesn't can probably find a middle ground somewhere. That's what I was saying. And I just felt like one day you and I were talking and I was just trying to plant my flag and just say, hey, bro, maybe this isn't the place for you. I said it, but it may have come off aggressive. Remember? And I was like, bro, this might not be the place for you. There's several places you can go that you can get that type of talk if that's what you want. This might not be it for you. And verbatim, that's what I said. But no, it's been cool. It's been cool. I ain't tripping. Hopefully you don't think I'm mad about it. I was just saying, you're not the only person I've done that to. You see what I'm saying? I've done that to a lot of people. I say it. I'm like, hey, if this ain't for you, that's cool. But that all being said, people get angry. I'm off that, okay? I'm talking about something. People are trying to make people angry. They're not trying to educate them. They're not trying to let them see things for what they really are. They want you to be angry because they already know. If you're a fighter, if you're a boxer, one of the magical tricks at the bottom of the cereal box is saying and doing some things. He said, thanks for unblocking me. I never blocked you, bro. What are you talking about? At the bottom of the cereal box, the treat that you get in boxing is when you can get up under your opponent's skin. Why do you think they do that? Why do you think it's wise? I mean, I'm just trying to make some sense out of this. Why do you think it's wise to make somebody angry as a fighter? Like, I'm cool, called collective. I'm a fight. We got a world championship fight coming up this Saturday night. And we're going to go to the press conference on Tuesday. And then we're going to go to the weigh-in on Friday. And every chance I get, I'm going to mess with you. I'm going to get under your skin. I'm going to make you mad. I'm gonna make you swing at me at the weigh-ins. I'm gonna talk about your mama, your sister, your girlfriend, your wife. I'm gonna talk about all of them. It's tactical. It's a tactic that's used to get under the skin, because every fighter knows that you're going to beat the shit out of an angry fighter, because he's not going to think clear. An angry fighter is going to make a mistake. So that's the goal. You know, I hear more people talking about what the president of the United States is doing that's wrong. These are the same folks that had absolutely nothing to say about what was being done wrong months ago when their man was in the office. If you would have been focused on the things that man was doing wrong, which I know some of y'all don't think he did anything wrong, but obviously if most of America voted for him, he's done some things that people don't agree with, and the other guy won. And I would ask you this with respect. Let me ask you something. Thanks. Been about to check. He said your profile isn't even showing your live. I don't know what's going on with it, bro. I don't know what's going on. So I just shared it over here to the Wyatt Live thing. I appreciate you guys showing up. Let me ask y'all a question. And let me ask you if this is far-fetched. But all that. Let me ask a question to those that is somewhat political. And answer this for me. Let me know if I'm off base on this. Hold on, let me see something. Hold on. I'll bring it back in a second. Tell me if I'm off base on this. If we would have been paying attention to what was going on in the White House collectively, if we wouldn't denying that the man wasn't walking off the stage the wrong direction, Obama was helping him off the stage, if we would have been honest at the press conferences by the press secretary, if a lot of things would have been revealed a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when some of us was talking about this stuff, do you think it would have been easier for our vice president, Kamala Harris, to have been moved up into the space of president? Has anybody ever thought if we would have been doing the right thing as a country and telling the truth about what's going on? Could have been placed, she was vice president, and then she could have been running for president as the president or running for another term. However they could have done it. I know they can do what they want to do because they made her the nominee without a primary. It's not the first time they've done it. And you know, when I made that clear about this, she didn't even go through a primary. I became all those words again, a coon and this and this and this and that again. And when I challenged democracy, I said, that's not really democracy. They can do what they want to do, but at the same time, how could people who holler about democracy feel like they had a choice? That's not democracy. You just placed her there. She didn't run up against anybody for that. But let's just go back. Let's rewind to all the people that supported her. You should have been supporting her so strongly that you should have been able to say, Biden is not fit to be the president. Let's bring in Kamala Harris. That's why you have a strong number two. Because if number one can't get it done, then we got to bring in we got to go to the bullpen. We got to go get the damn backup. We got to go get number two to now be our number one. But y'all was so strong that Biden was good and clear and this and this and that. And y'all, he wouldn't take no press conferences. He wouldn't talk to nobody. And y'all cleaned that shit up in aisle 7. You didn't even go hard enough for the woman that y'all loved and wanted to hustle for and lose friends for and call names and lose relationships for. You didn't even see the dishonesty in the whole situation is now showing up in a whole nother worse kind of way to me. But it sure in the hell would have been easier if Miss Harris, if VP Harris would have now been President Harris for an entire year, possibly a year and a half, and then ran for president while she was in the seat, showing I can do this. I can do this. Look at me. But no, you were so much on ignoring what was obvious to so many people, staying on code, focusing on Trump during that whole time, denying that the border was open. Didn't fight for girls and boys and girls sports. All those little things that you think didn't mean anything made you feel comfortable and felt good because you could say the word Trump every day and say something negative and nasty and Project 2025. But nobody went hard enough. I bet you I said more about Kamala Harris positive than the majority of people that voted for. I'm talking about on this platform. I'm the one, and people laughed at this, but this is the truth. And I got the content to show you. I can go back to the tapes and show you. Now, I did not disrespect that lady at all. But let me tell you what I did say. I did say to y'all, and some people don't believe this because they may not have been here yet. Some of you were here. You don't remember me telling you, I don't think that was a good move that Biden gave her the border because I don't really think Biden has any intentions of shutting the border down. And I think they set her up and it's going to make her look bad because he assigned her the job. Even though he's ahead of everything, you still assigned her the job and her name. What did the Republicans do, y'all? Did the Republicans not call her the border czar and tell the world she can't handle the border? Did they not do that? So who did the border really fall on? When the names came up, they didn't say Biden hadn't been to the border. They said Kamala Harris ain't been to the border. It was on 60 Minutes. They used it. But see, when you want to stay focused on what you want to stay focused on, or you want to make it about me being wrong, you can't say anything that I'm saying is wrong. You can't say what I'm saying didn't happen because it actually did. But let me ask all the non-sayers. Let me ask you this question. You like Kamala Harris, right? Would you have been okay if the party would have said Joe Biden can't get this done anymore, and if Nancy Pelosi, who's really the head of the ship, or she's the co-head of the ship, if she would have pulled Joe Biden a year and a half ago and put in Kamala Harris and said and put in the 25th Amendment, if they would have did, what do they call it? The 25th? What do they call that when they can move the president up? The 25th what? If they would have implemented that, how many people would have been mad at that? Who would have been mad at that? You can't. If you voted for Miss Harris, you couldn't have been mad at that. You should have been okay with that. Why didn't that enter anyone's mind to do that? Because you thought that Joe Biden could win again, possibly. And then when Nancy Pelosi and them said, "Nah, this ain't gonna work," let's say that he has COVID. What did I say that Thursday? I don't think Joe Biden coming back. It ain't sounding too good. The numbers was tanking. And it only made sense for them to bring in VP Harris to run for president because they would have had to walk away from too much money. They would have had to walk away from too much campaign money that was already built up. But see, when you focus on all the wrong things, you don't see a strategy. And then when you lose, you find every reason to make it somebody else's fault or somebody else's reasoning that don't make sense. That don't make sense. That he just talking. That don't make no sense. It make a perfect sense to me. If y'all would have got that man out of the office a year and a half prior to the election and let Vice President Harris run things, she would have stood a better chance than going up against Donald Trump. Just an observation. That's all it is. But instead, everybody wanted to just talk about Project 2025. They wanted to get on BET and hire people. They wanted to get the Megan Thee Stallions and all that. They tried to buy you. They tried to put on a concert and entertain you to the polls. And that's what happened. And now, regardless of how angry or mad you might want to be with me or disagree with me, you ought to be mad at the people in the media and the big mouth people out here who's talking about Biden now that they can get a book deal and now that they don't have any repercussions of real time. Stephen A. Smith, the other dude from the white dude from the media who now got a book out, Kareem Pierre, the press secretary, all of them who was staying on code and didn't want to have nothing to do with the truth. Now they all coming out and doing what they doing, what they should have been doing in real time. Not Kareem. She was just doing her job. Her job was to just keep the media at bay. So don't get mad at the messenger. And if you don't like my message, you don't have to be here. Always easy for somebody to say the same things y'all saying now, you could have been saying then. Shrinking government is part of Project 2025. When y'all had y'all leaders running around, giving y'all these little press conferences and giving y'all these tours and giving you these things of what do they call them? Seminars. How many of them was up front and told you that Project 2025, I said it on the show, it ain't really an attack on black people. It's shrinking the government. That's what it's attack on. It's having all these little entities. It's all these nonprofit organizations that shouldn't even be there. That's what the fuck it really is. Y'all want to, and you've been programmed to understand it for what they want you to see it for. It's never really been an attack on black people per se. For every government job that a black person is losing, I bet you there's 5-to-1 ratio, 6 to 7-to-1 ratio of a white person too losing a job. So how could you say that's an attack on black people? Go back and do your research of how these 501c have been abusing government funding. Go look at how they make their money. Just go look. I ain't telling you nothing that I ain't told you 3-4 years ago. But I know what I won't hear. I know what I won't hear. I won't hear anything. I won't hear one accountability, no piece of accountability of, yeah, we effed up. We lied. We stayed on code. We should have got rid of Joe Biden a long time ago. We should have brought in our relief pitcher. We should have brought in Kamala Harris. We should have brought her in. Because I think she would have had a better chance if she was there. But she was defending the undefendable. And now it's all coming out. And see, some people you're going to go down swinging. You're going to go down swinging. And that's cool. I can't say that I respect it. I understand it. But the truth is coming out in broad daylight from all the people that are talking now. Of course, you're going to have the people that don't have nothing. The people that have a lot to lose are going to continuously push a certain agenda and say certain things and blame everything, the outcome, on whatever they want to blame it on to keep you on code and keep you going. But the truth of the matter is you got so many more people now that are actually understanding, like, damn, I never knew that the head of a nonprofit organization was making $250,000 passing out lunch meat. Wait a minute. Why you make so much money doing that shit? Why do you make so much money doing that? And I ain't talking to everybody here. You can stay here, but I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to people that understand where I'm coming from. It's me. I'm talking. I'm having the conversation. Just like the kids in the street. Go give them $1 or something. Go buy some Reese's Pieces from the little Mexican kids in the street. Go ahead. They don't speak English. They in there. They're not going to Mason High School. They're not going to the suburban white schools. They're in the inner city schools that's already working from behind. And now they got people that don't speak English in there. And how is that making it even better for kids that are reading that are already 30 to 40% reading? Come on, man. That's just silly. That's just silly. Wow. We know what lane people stay in. When you talk about things of correction, they're silent. When you talk about things of accountability, then they want to have something to say about the other side. Well, what about Mama Birch? Didn't I tell you? Just clean your own hallway up. We don't care what them dirty and pissy ass hallways smell like over there. We don't care. My granny and my mom and I always say, we just gonna take care of our hallway, our archway. Don't worry about what they saying over there. Don't worry about what they doing over there. Don't worry about it. Clean yours, get your hair, comb your hair, brush your teeth, wash your butt every day, and walk out with pride. That's what it is. Don't worry about who look like $1 million. Don't worry about how they getting their money. You're not gonna have to face those consequences when they get caught doing what they doing. Remember that? Mama Birch, ain't that what it was? And that's why I said I'm gonna leave those people where they are. If you can't see defeat, look, when we used to play the kids from I keep wanting to say Blue Ash, but it wasn't Blue Ash. Golf Manor from being down the way. They had the best uniforms. Y'all heard me say this before. They had the best uniforms. They had the good everything. Bat and gloves, nice bats. They had matching uniforms. They had clean shoes. They had everything nice. It was white dudes. Okay, we used to play them, and if we didn't win every time, but we won the majority of the time. But the first game we ever played against these guys, this was Coach Craig's team. We lost. Let me tell you why we lost. It wasn't that they were better. We were intimidated. You know why we were intimidated? Because I remember Coach Craig gave us a speech before the game, days before the game, about how hard these white boys throw, how big these guys are. These are biscuit eating big guys. They're gonna throw hard, they're gonna be big, and they're gonna have a whole bunch of people there. And for us who didn't have a lot, we didn't have nice uniforms, we didn't have any confidence of being sharp, we didn't have a big crowd, it wasn't like that. It intimidated us. So we went into the game already a little defeated mentally. We went in about to compete with some dudes that have already beat us mentally. So it's kind of hard to think about the game when you're already scared about things, or that you have been, that's pushed over your confidence. And after the game, we were all mad. And we were talking about all the reason of why we lost. But none of us was big enough. I don't think it was about being big. I just don't think it hit our minds that one of the reasons why we lost is because we were scared. I was kind of timid, scared, because Coach Craig had already convinced us how big and strong and how hard these guys was going to throw and this and this and that. So we lost. But then after the game, I remember us having a conversation at practice the next day or the day after, whatever it was. We were at the field and we was practicing and we was making fun of how hard the guys was throwing and this and this and that. The intimidation went away because we had this experience. We witnessed it. We experienced it. And we was asking Coach, I remember we was asking Coach Craig, we was like, man, listen, bro, we should do this again. We can get them. They wasn't all that bad. And Coach Craig looked at us and he was like, bro, y'all played horrible. And I, being the spokesperson that I am, looked at him and said, bro, you told us they was going to be hitting the ball over the fence. You told us that they was going to be big and throwing all hard. You built them up. You built them up. You didn't tell us how great we were. You built them up. That's a young man. That's a young dude saying that type of shit. He didn't tell us we was fast, we was quick, we was this, we was going to be able to do this, and Montez was going to be able to strike out the side. He didn't tell us how great we were. He just kept telling us how great they were. It was an obstacle. So maybe we just, hey, Dante, maybe this is that medium that I was talking about. And what I mean by that is this. Maybe it's okay to talk about the other side. But by God, I am definitely going to talk about my side being great more so than the other side. If I tell you how great we are or what we got going on, it helps the confidence of what we got going on. I'm not going to tell you how bad the other team is. I'm not going to tell you how great they are. I'm going to focus on us, what we need to do to win. I don't know. Maybe it is just the politic way. Maybe that is how politics the game is. Talk bad about your opponent, and that'll get you votes. Because if you can slander them or talk bad about them, it makes you look better. I just never lived my life that way. I either have a product that I have to depend on to sell and let it speak for itself, or I got to sell myself. I've never been the type of person that used the strategy of downing somebody else to make mine look better. I've never been that. If I don't have the right product, then I'm on the wrong team. If I don't have the right thing that's going to sell itself or be a better product than what the other person is or what the other product they have is, then I think I'm on the wrong side. That's probably why I'm not in politics. Because if I'm going to sit back and if I'm going to spend $1 million on smear campaigns, I'm not the guy that's going to do that. I'll spend $1 million and tell you what I'm going to do. That's just the difference. I don't know. Let me see if this thing is pulled up, guys. I'm sorry about that. Let me just. Yeah, my page is still down for some odd reason. I'm not quite sure why, but it's saying that it's streaming over there. My bad, guys. Give me 2 seconds.
The following is intended only for mature audiences.
I didn't mean to do that. There was a thing on social media the other day, kind of switching up, and something that I don't really get into this that often. I don't really get into. Let me get my comments up. Excuse me. I don't really get into this that often. Talking about who people date, why they date, who they date, and stuff like that. But I do remember some time ago. Hold on one second. Let me grab my big bag down right. Make sure we got that right. There we go. I do remember we had a show about it one time. We were talking about when black dudes date white girls and when white girls, when black men date white ladies, and then when black women date white men. I don't have a problem. I want to say this honestly. I don't really have. It's just like I don't have a problem with a whole lot of things that people might deem wrong or seem wrong or whatever. Date who you love. But one of the things that I used to hate, to be honest, I don't like using the word hate, but one of the things that I really didn't like is when people would say things. No, Mama Birch said, did you hear about Ollie Trolley and the street sign? No, Mama Birch put that in the comment about Ollie Trolley. I know Ollie Trolley. I mean, what about Ollie Trolley and the street sign? What about him? I'm curious. Is it something in the news or is this some street shit that you talking about, Mama Birch? You've been hanging out of that window again and you overheard something? Is that what it is? Or is this something that's in the media? I don't know. I can tend to get my news from Channel 5 News up in Cincinnati or Cincinnati.com. But let me just ask this question because I got a few more minutes and I just want to ask. I'm just curious. Well, let me see something. Check this before I go on. I'm just curious. I don't want to make the wrong statement here about what I'm about to say. I just want to verify that it's right. Where is it? Okay. All right. Just want to get my timing right. Yeah, we had a show about this one time. We have spoke about it. I don't know if this is the right time to talk about it, but I kind of feel it. Oh no, I didn't know that. Okay, good. That's my negative thinking ass. I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't have been thinking that. Marvin Smith has a street named after him on Liberty and Central, Marvin Smith Alley. They put name. It's good to see some of the people that's been in the city so long doing positive things, getting recognition by getting all these streets. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm happy for him. I'm actually happy for him. I don't really eat at Ollie's that often, but he has enough crowd where he don't need me. But I'll never say anything bad about the situation. You know what I'm saying? I've never hated on him. I wouldn't. I think he's a brilliant businessman for holding out like he did. I think he was very smart by buying the property that he established Ollie's Try. He owns the property. I've talked to Marvin a few times over the years, especially early in stages of what he was doing, because we used to have to walk past there to go to the boys club, back and forth, boys and girls club. So he's been around a long time, but I think one of the best moves he's ever made as a businessman was to purchase the property. And that's why FC Cincinnati, or should I say TQL, the stadium and all of that, I think that's why they have so much success taking over the neighborhood, because none of us that are from there are down that way. We didn't really own any of that property that's in the path of that construction that they do, or that, that buildup that they're doing down there. So yeah, that's good. I'm glad they gave him a street. He's been down there long enough where, that should be a street. That should be his block. That should be his street. That's good. That's excellent. Matter of fact, that shows even more that, you know, that you don't have to be an athlete to be productive in the Black community, or to be known. You can be a regular businessman. You can be successful at building a brand outside of saying hut hut hype, or, you know, no offense to the athletes, I'm just saying they seem to be the ones that get the most, you know, attention in most communities. And I'm glad to see that somebody like Ollie Trott, who I was just talking about, why don't they do movies on regular business people? I don't know how many people would actually buy a movie or would want to try to buy the Ollie Trott story. It's probably not that interesting to a lot of people, but I'm happy that he was able to accomplish what he's accomplished. I remember when his daughter would work in there. She was a younger girl, and it was a family business. All right, it is a family business. And I remember when his daughter would be in there serving food, and yeah, it was a good environment, good atmosphere. You could tell the daughter didn't really want to be there. She was just doing what her daddy told her to do. She got other stuff to do. She want to rip around with her friends and all that. And she was very well mannered. She's a very little bitty chocolate girl with the little braces on. She was one of them little, you know, one of them. She wasn't no hood chick. He kept her out of that. They didn't live in the hood, but she wasn't that. You wasn't gonna get an extra bone or no extra bread. It wasn't that. She wasn't going for that. No, you wasn't getting nothing from the daughter. You know what I mean? No. Sometimes she'd be there serving. She wasn't going. It was a no-go. But that all being said, congratulations to Ollie Trotz and Mr. Marvin. I'm glad he was able to get a street named after me. I didn't hear about that. I'm not there to actually hear something that probably was maybe on the radio. I don't know if I seen it. I didn't see it on Cincinnati.com. I didn't see it on Channel 5 or Channel 19 in Cincinnati. I didn't see it. But yeah, congratulations to him. Let me go to the phone lines real fast before I get out of here. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
It's me, Marquetta.
Marquetta, what's good with you, sis? I didn't recognize. It's a 513 phone number. I didn't recognize you.
Hey, I still got my Obama phone.
Oh, okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. What's on your mind today, sis?
I want to say every problem is an opportunity. Every problem that you have is an opportunity.
I agree.
We are not supposed to be always living in ease. You're supposed to have a problem or two. That's why you have the brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have to, instead of looking at everything as woe is me, and it's just my opinion. I'm not telling you, I'm not trying to make myself out to be no, scholar or wordsmith or whatever they be saying.
I feel you.
I feel like this is the opportunity. This is the time where we can start. Like I saw one brother, Dante, I was in the comments with some really good insight as far as what he can do in business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you know that they have a mass deportations at construction sites, cleaning services, this is your time to shine. You can start a cleaning service.
Yep.
You can become a construction contractor. Get your brothers together that got common sense, and go get bonded. Work with you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. It makes sense to me. I tried to introduce that 3 years ago, a few years ago, when I said, hey, as soon as COVID was over, sis, I'm not trying to take over your flow, but what you're saying makes so much sense of what we talked about before. Remember when COVID was going on, and I was here, and I don't know if you were here yet, but I was saying to everybody, this is a reset. This is a reboot for us. This is an opportunity for every one of us to go out and get an LLC. We need to incorporate ourselves, because this is going to be a reboot. The world is going to change. This is an opportunity for us to get in at a ground floor level to do something that we've never been able to do before.
And like I told you, that's what sparked me. I listen to you, not always to argue with you or agree with you, but in my opinion, as a single woman, I need to hear a man's guidance that got his head on his shoulders straight. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
If you can listen to people get you hyped up and angry and emotional, but what I heard was some solutions. I heard what you said, and it changed, dude. It changed my life. The way,
Appreciate
as far as my thinking, because I was making little gifts and T-shirts and personalized glasses, and I might get, I think the top sale I might have had might have been like $400 or $500, but
That's
it wasn't nothing. It wasn't
Marquetta,
nothing I
come
could
on,
live off
sis. I'm
of.
the one who said go out and make $25 a week extra than what you're making on your job. Just do it on your own. Do something. Because once you start out making $25 that you got on your own with your own brand and your own know-how, it don't sound like a lot of money, but it's not the money that the reward and the satisfaction is more
Yeah,
valuable than the money. You get me?
yeah. My mama was proud,
There
but
you go. The
it,
money will come.
but I had to change my customer and who I thought was my consumer base. And for Black people, we have become a consumer. We're not producing. We don't. Again, I'm speaking for myself, so I don't want to say we, but I don't think that we see ourselves in the capacity of being producers, where we can solve our own needs. Ali Strali is a good example. You hungry? You go to Ali Strali. He
Mm,
opened it off hours when other places are open. He's in an area where it's a food desert. You have opportunity there. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, yeah,
some of us have been dragged down into a culture of gossip and slander. And
absolutely.
for some people, it's profitable. You could go online and watch P. Diddy trial for days and people gossiping about whatever went on between them, like it impacts their life somehow. But gossip and
The
slander
following
is
is
not profitable, generally speaking. And we got to pull ourselves up. We have to. I'm terrified. I don't even. I already text my mama, but she ain't answered me back yet. My family from down the way. I lived in Parktown. I know everybody in Over the Rhine. They're my people. So if you say somebody 49, a woman, been shot in the face, that's somebody that could have been me. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That could have been me. And I don't. When the one brother, Rodney Hinton, when he was arrested and he had his hearings, I was watching the news and I seen the Black Panther Party come down for Columbus,
Hmm.
and they was talking big and they had guns and they was ready for war. But you never see those types show up when women and children are shot. That's an opportunity for our community. You can't always cry and complain about how bad the police is when you won't police your people. When there is no safety in your community, like who are you gonna call? What strong brother gonna come and talk that brother down so that he don't hurt himself or so that you don't call the police and the police wind up shooting him? Hello?
I'm here. I'm listening.
I'm just saying that's a opportunity for us as a community to jump in and say, you know what, we need to patrol Witten Terrace. It's too many children that's been shot while they was asleep. We
Yeah, but
need to.
okay, let's change it from Winton Terrace to Lincoln Heights. Okay, did you see how we loked up when the white boys was over there on the bridge?
Hey, I saw that it's all over the
Okay,
news.
so why couldn't we do that same thing? More people are killing us, and we more at threat than people. Look at what's going on over there, and white people don't have nothing to do with it. So why can't our same brothers go out on the street when we out there doing things that's leading our kids in certain directions and doing stuff that we know we don't have no business doing? That same type of unity should be there.
And that same type of excitement to protect your community should be there. Because the white man didn't. Who did he shoot? Did he shoot a 7-year-old while they were sleeping in the bed? Did they shoot the 9? I watched the sentencing of the guy who shot the 9-year-old baby in Silverton
Yeah,
in her grandma's house.
I seen that on Channel 5, and that was horrifying because who was in the courtroom? The mama and grannies and all of them with the sign, but that's all the support that family had.
And Kasim, if you knew him, wasn't raised like that. but because of his affiliation, other people that he ran with, in the guns and drugs, they felt like they had to retaliate, and that's how they retaliated. Even in his closing out before he got his 30 years, he said, if they wouldn't have shot such and such first, I would have never shot.
Right.
I didn't mean
right.
to shoot her. Bruh, like
Right. There it is. It's
our
always if they wouldn't have did this or what the other person is doing. It's not the self-accountability, sis. Come on. You know what I'm talking about. It's never, I should have never been in a situation where I was involved in any of that stuff in the first place. It's always if somebody else wouldn't have done what they did. That's just always the direction. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I mean, I don't hear. I'm not. I don't agree with everything you say. Like people
know.
be trying to make
I
it
know.
out to be.
I
It's
know you
not
don't.
that.
I know you don't. And we've had conversations about it. But because you
Really.
feel a certain way and I feel a certain way and it may be different, you're not going to not say what you got to say because I don't agree. And I'm not going to not say what I got to say because you don't agree. That's what a lot of people don't understand. But at the end of the call and at the end of the day, you know, when me and you can hit each other up and it'll just be like, well, we didn't agree
That's
on
still
that.
my brother.
There we go.
That's
That's
still
just
my
how we go.
brother.
That's
Same
how we
thing
go.
with Emmanuel. He can hate all day long. That's still my brother. I don't hate none of my people, except for those who want to do ill and harm to us. And there are people who want to hurt. There's brothers out there who would fight me physically before they would even try fighting a white man, just because of some of my conversations. But back to what I'm saying about us having the opportunity. Listen, y'all, artificial intelligence is here. It's not coming, it's here. America is behind. If
Right.
you look up China and look at what China's doing, like I was posting stuff last night about all the medical technology China breaking through with. They able to produce children without sex. They just taking stem cells now and putting them in a incubator and creating artificial people. They got technology now where you don't have to be blind. They can put a microscopic little microchip in your eye, and your cornea is connected again. They can make you walk.
Yeah.
The type of technology that they have and these drones and whatnot. So we can't expect jobs just over brokes or careers to be there for us in the coming future. They're talking about artificial intelligence is even going to push out doctors.
It is. My daughter's in that situation right now where we're looking at the future. You're looking at pharmacy. You're looking at a lot of different things where robotics are already in those fields, and they're already canceling out budgets in some of these hospitals across the country because of AI, robotics, and things of that nature. So you're right on point. But I don't think we're arguing about. See, here's the thing. I don't want to argue and fight about shit that we're so far. The things we arguing and fighting about, Marquetta.
That's what I was about to say.
I'm talking about you and I, not you and I. I'm talking about in general, as the people, what they got my people up in a roar about Elon Musk and all this old goofy ass shit and all this other stuff. They got us so focused on what's going on the other side and how wrong they are and this and that. It ain't gonna matter when you not needed. You can hate all you want and prove to be right about everything. You still won't be here in a minute because there's nothing here for you to do. How are you going to survive without a living? I mean, if you can't make a living, what else you gonna do? If you're not preparing your children for a world that's totally different than the one you grew up in, then what are you preparing your children for? That's all I'm saying. And we're not doing that. We focused on other shit.
Government showed us during the COVID that they don't care about the workforce. Everybody can get fired if you don't take this shot. They didn't care that the shot didn't have efficacy, that the shot hadn't been tested long. You don't even hear them talking about the shot no more. They were saying if you sit next to your grandma, they was gonna die.
Not everybody agreed, but of course the divide and conquer. Once you get people believing that one side is wrong for their beliefs or how they want to believe, then you have another side disagreeing with them and they're fighting and fussing, and then it's not about what's right or wrong anymore. The truth, it's not about the truth anymore. It's about who's right or wrong. You see what I'm saying? The truth never matters in a fight once the fight starts. It's all about who's gonna win the argument.
For the working class, political theater is where we fight. The working class poor they're going to fight each other because They're the working class poor. But like I was saying before the election, man, BlackRock BlackRock determined the election. Trump is a good brand for international business, whether we like him or not. People buy Trump's name to put on their hotel, to make their hotel more prestigious. Trump was invited to the United Arab Emirates. They gave that man like a $25 million necklace, one of the highest civilian honors, just because he's Trump. And Black people in America, we have thrown all of our moral, what's the Aaron Magruder called it? He called it moral currency. He said we've thrown away our moral currency. White people don't care about how moral segregation or Jim Crow is anymore because they sick of Black people. But we sick of them. And if you look on TikTok and you look on Twitter, you will find Black people saying, bring back segregation. You find Black people saying yes, so that we can keep our money and our resources amongst ourselves. Because now that we've been swallowed up by this economy, when artificial intelligence comes, we're going to be displaced as far as homes. And not just because they cut Section 8, but because you can't compete with a robot. You can't, people be laughing at twins talking about he's slanging milk. Listen, I worked at Kroger's. They have automated workers. It's automated robots. They don't do rollers. All they got to do is go over there to that hive. They will pick your groceries themselves and mail and send it to you, like without any human interaction. And we just got to get beyond thinking that this is us against us. Them politicians, and I hate to bring her name up because it's such a touchy subject. Kamala Harris is not a dumb woman. She knew what was going on. She could have invoked the 25th Amendment because the president was disabled.
So you heard that. You heard that argument. You heard the point that I made.
I've been listening to you since you've been on.
Oh, okay. Okay, my bad.
The argument that we failed her by not voting for her. No, the Democratic Party failed. The Democratic Party failed their party. They failed the American workers. They failed if you knew Project 2025, because the Heritage Foundation is not a new group.
Nope.
The Heritage Foundation been around for years. If you knew that this guy was going to be Hitler and Project 2025 was going to do this and do that, while you were in power and you had power, you should have taken power. And you should have said, I'm going to put these protections in while I'm president. And he couldn't do it because he was man, I in my opinion, I think Hunter Biden was the president. Who else would give Ukraine all that money? They can't win a war against Russia.
Well, first of all, let me just say something about, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that Hunter Biden was the president. I hear you though. I don't know if you were being facetious or if you were being serious about that. I don't think he was the president, but I know there was handlers. There were other people doing it. And when you bring him up, this is the reason why they want you to think that the laptop doesn't matter and it was doofus and goofy. When you got a guy like Hunter Biden that you brought up making $88,000 a month through a foreign exchange job with Ukraine, that should be a red flag about something. Can he make $88,000 a month right now? How does he qualify to make $88,000 a month doing what for what company in America? And I mean, these are the things that they wanted to, I promise you, these things will be uncovered and brought back up, but people were trying to make it seem like people were crazy for bringing up things about 10% and the big guy and all that. They want you to be a conspiracy theorist and they want you to believe that you're crazy and that none of that really matters. I even hear them saying things like this now. He's not the president anymore. Just let it go. You see what I'm saying? Like you that damn bought in and you that convinced that none of that shit plays a part in your future of the decisions that was made then don't play a part in what's happening in your life now. That's crazy to me. You can't just want to ignore the things that somebody did to you and it has an effect on you now. And you just want to keep looking at the now instead of how some of the things back then could affect you then. If a woman, I'm going to say this like this. if a lady is abusing me, cheating on me, stealing my money out my pocket, and it happened 2-3 years ago, and I'm just now finding out about it, and she's still with me, I'm still going to hold that against her. I don't trust you because I just found out now. I might as well just found out. It's the same as me finding out when you just did it. Yeah, it's going to be reborn, and I'm going to bring it up because now I don't trust you. I see what you're capable of. And if I'm dealing with somebody and I see that they're capable of playing me, lying to me and stuff like that, I have to second guess who you really are and what I support. And they're not doing it. They just want to say, forget it. Forget it. He's not there anymore. No, you don't want to think about the things that you've been convinced that weren't true. That doesn't make any sense to me.
And y'all in sanctuary cities, you risk losing
I'm not in a
federal
sanctuary
funding.
city. I'm not in a sanctuary city. I get it. I'm not. My city's not sanctuary. I'm not in Cincinnati, but I rep Cincinnati. But
I'm just saying
I know
their
what you're saying.
federal funding is at risk because the arrogance of the Democratic Party ignoring him saying, listen, Barack Obama sent people home. He was the reporter in chief.
Let me ask you a question. Can I, sis? It's kind of personal.
Sure,
it won't be off the track though.
Go ahead.
You have beautiful daughters, don't you?
Yep.
Let me ask you something, sis. Have you ever done anything to your daughters as far as laying down rules or foundations to them that they thought that you was mad at them, or they thought you didn't want them to have no fun, or you thought that they thought that you just didn't like them, or you don't want to be bothered with them or something? Have you ever had to discipline your kid? Or not discipline, but have you ever had to put down the law and let them know you ain't gonna get away with this? You saving them from themselves and they don't realize it, and they think something wrong with you. Have you ever done it? Do you know there's a
Can I tell you, my daughter is doing that to me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But you know what I'm saying, sis. You see my point. My point. Sometimes
I raised my daughter a certain way, and when she got old enough, she went to the Space Force and she military minded and the college and all that. So when she came back home, she's like, "Mama, why is you fat?"
What?
Yeah, she came in laying it down. You got to drink apple cider vinegar water. You got to take a walk. I mean, like literally, she make me. So, you got to take a walk. Yeah. You got to do 2 miles a day. You ain't about to just be sitting in here, because you done got older and comfortable.
Right,
you ain't about to be sitting here out here with that tire around your waist because it's diabetes.
Right.
But because I raised her like that, you know what I'm saying? She comes back and she pushes the law back on me. That's right. You can't tell me one thing and then here you is years later doing something else.
To my point is sometimes you got to save people from themselves, even though we don't like what they're telling us or we don't like what they're saying. You see what I'm saying? And it's like I used our kids as an example because, you're probably not mad at your daughter for telling you the truth about that versus when we had to discipline our kids or lay down the law, like, no, you're not staying out till 1 o'clock in the morning with your friends. Your friends might have parents that ain't gonna let you do that'll let them do that, but you're not gonna do that. And see what happens is when you do that, when you try to save people from themselves, sometimes they get offended. They think that you're just on the other side, or you don't know, or maybe it's something personal. I don't know what it is, but for me, I use that example all the time because I just think that in some cases, when you bring up things and it's a I told you so moment, they get offended by it instead of, taking it for what it was when you tried to explain it a long time ago. You ever had to break the news to a friend of yours that her man was cheating on her because you seen him? You see what I'm saying? And then they get mad at you for telling the truth about their friend?
I was living in Parktown after I had my my youngest baby. When you have a child and you're not with that man financially, you can be devastated. And I've worked myself from the bottom up. But when I lived in Parktown, when my baby was maybe 2 or 3, I want to say she was 3 going on 4. Miss Donna was she was an elder in Parktown. Miss Donna was up at 6 a.m. and she didn't go in the house until everybody was in the house. So you ain't see her go in the house sometimes till like 11 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Miss Donna saved my daughter's life twice. We was in Parktown, and if you live in Parktown, the kids rule Parktown. And so for her, she couldn't wait to get up in the morning and go play with her friends and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So one morning, I'm asleep. I'm literally on the couch asleep. And the baby wake up, put her clothes on, walk past me, unlock the door and go outside by herself. She was 3 or 4. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. And thank God for Miss Donna.
Was looking
Miss
at
Donna, Miss Donna saw her. Miss Donna saw her, swooped her up, took her to my mama's house because she didn't know where we lived. She took her to my mama's house. My mama lived around the corner. And I got cussed out so hard, but I was stripping like I was asleep. I didn't even know how she knew to open the door.
right.
And another time, she was again out playing with her friends, and she done went too far past the place that she's supposed to go, and almost get hit by a car in the parking lot by the beauty supply. Again, here come Miss Donna. Miss Donna grabbed her up, spanked her butt, and brought her home.
Yeah.
And Miss Donna dead. Miss Donna got ran over. They was supposed to name a street down there after her. Miss Donna got ran over crossing the street.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, she got ran
that.
over because she was white. And the only reason I think that she got hit by a car is because she was out monitoring her community.
Yeah, I remember that. Was it down by Stanley Row?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Her.
I remember that. And I remember you having something to say about that. You knew her. You said she was family close.
When I hear like I'm telling you, it's a 49-year-old woman in Cincinnati with a child, where her daughter saw her get shot. That's somebody in my age group. That's somebody that I most likely know. I'm scared to find out if it's somebody close to me. I don't even want to know. That's one of the reasons we out of Cincinnati.
Right.
I don't even want to know. But
there's a whole lot of stuff.
Think who it could be.
There's a whole lot of stuff they're not talking about. We've been saying it here for how long now? We've been saying it here for a long time. They ain't saying nothing about all them car. I told y'all, all these car break-ins that happen every night and don't nobody talk about it. I mean, listen, you got to understand why I talk about those things. Here's what I'm saying, Marquetta. It's not that they had the break-ins that I'm concerned with, not just the break-ins. It's the fact that these are kids. These are people that should have their minds on other things. We have too many out here that's distracted and doing things that they have no business doing. There's too many lost children. Your schools are damaged. They're not good. And we got to figure out why our kids aren't interested in school, why they're not going to school, why the parents are failing these children. We got to overcome that before you think you're going to fix something that's political, because it's not political, other than the fact that you make it easy for somebody to raise or you make it efficient for a person to raise a child, even if it's on a small budget. You house them, you feed them, you give them a little bit of money to get some clothes, you give them enough to just maintain. You create a welfare state, and then you create a prison state for those same participants later on. You don't care if they get educated. You don't care if AI is going to be taking the jobs. You don't care if robots are going to be taking the jobs. You don't even look for the people to be educated in those areas. That's what I'm talking about, sis. I need the arguments to be more about solution versus of what's going on.
And that's what I was going to say. You know, the internet allows you access. You can log online to Harvard and take a free class. You could go on Google and get a certification in programming. You could go on CompTIA. You can get a certification in networking and computers. It's free opportunities for growth and development.
You always hit it. You always on point about shit like that. You said something that just woke me up to another point. I'm gonna let you finish your point, but I'm older and I'll forget it. Sis, I heard something the other day, and I've been hearing it on mainstream radio and all that old type of stuff. They trying to take Black history away from us. Now, first of all, not everything in the world that's taught to us needs to be taught to us by the school system. Like, why do you think elementary, high school, or universities need to teach you something about your own people? Not everything is to be taught by schools. I'm not a professional teacher. Like, I have no training in teaching anybody how to do math or science or reading or any of that. I'm not trained to do that. So I wouldn't look for me to homeschool my kids because I don't know how to teach. Okay, I couldn't teach a class at the at Withrow. I'm not trained to do it. But you don't have to be trained to teach history. History is written for himself. History teaches itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? So how hard is it for you to get your kids aligned with a history that already exists? You don't need Cincinnati Public Schools to teach your kids history. You can teach. What is it that you want to know about any history lesson that you want to know about? What is it you need to know? With all the technology today, you can not only read about it, you can YouTube it and damn near see the dirt. I went to Africa, sis. Do you know how much research I did on all the places I went to first? I damn near was staying in the hotels before I even got there. I could pull the hotels up. I could damn near see what a two-room suite looks like. I knew how many steps was at the front door. And I also knew what the education level was in that same city that I was visiting. All the information I wanted was right there, and the history of those places that I've been to.
We are in an age of Chat GPT and Fork. You're in the age of Mid Journey. You can make a movie without actors. You can write a movie script without a writer. You know what I'm saying? Artificial intelligence is predictive intelligence, which means it kind of thinks for itself. And Black America, everybody ain't gonna come. But once this big, beautiful bill gets passed and the recession really hits, the economy has to reset. It's built on an inflated dollar. It's built on lies. It's built on false numbers that was being pushed. You know, they was lying saying how many people was employed. That wasn't true. You know, they was lying saying about the productivity. It wasn't true. So it has to be reset. Like I said, you were denying we finished here. As Black Americans, it's not your enemy's job to hold the institutions to educate you on your history. I'm not going to show you I used to cut your testicles off and pickle them. I'm not going to show you I used to sell your children as soon as they, by the pound, as soon as they was born. I'm not going to show you that. You're my enemy. I don't want you mad. So as Black Americans, that's something that Umar initially, when he was trained, that's what he was saying. We need institutions that we control ourselves, but we're not willing to invest in ourselves.
Well,
and
we are.
Where we have to come together.
We are. It's just that, look, let me ask you a question, because I believe we are. Do you think that they allow certain institutions to open because they know they won't do right? Or do you believe we just don't do right? Because we have institutions. We had a school in Cincinnati that just shut down and effed up the whole program. Everybody's education, did the money bad, did the money wrong. Nobody really wants to have that conversation because it was a Black man that was involved and other Black people. So we always have.
First one.
No, absolutely hasn't been. I know 3 guys in that area that opened up charter schools, and they all turned out the same way. Mm-hmm. We had our own education system set up in place. What happens is they always go left. They always get beat up, and something always go wrong with them. And nobody made anybody steal money. Stealing money is a choice. Bettering your life through stealing money is your choice. It's a form of greed. That's how I look at it. Nobody told that person to embezzle money, steal money, cut side deals with contractors. That's just greed. And when you do stuff like that, but you on the backs of your people, and you talk about how you changing the world for us and changing the neighborhoods, that's more of a clown coon to me than a person that's sitting back talking about accountability. If all I'm gonna do is capitalize on my people by talking about we down for the people, this and this and that, we these opportunities we providing for our people, and this and this and that, and the whole damn community coming to support you, and you can't do no wrong, and you stealing money, embezzling money, buying properties, opening clubs, doing all this old crazy shit, that's your coon right there, sis. That's
destroying public trust. But that's what happens in Africa. Not to be, off mark, but that's what happens in Africa. You got all them puppet leaders. Africa's rich. And puppet leaders, they take the money from the International Monetary Fund. They take the money from USAID, and they'll keep it for themselves.
It's always been that way. I always ask people, you talk about the systems we have in America and how we're oppressed and this and that. It's a lot of white people that's broken all that shit too. But go to a country where everybody looked the same. And they go through the same conditions of the people that you called oppressed here. And I want to ask you, what's the excuse over there? You have a whole lot of people that look the same in Africa, but yet there's villages of people that are living just like the people in the projects. Matter of fact, the people in the projects have a whole lot more. You understand? But what is the excuse for the poor people in China? What's the excuse for the people that live in some of the countries in Africa? It's the government. It's the people that have to have a welfare state. It's designed to be that way. And they keep you in those depressing moments, those places in life. And then you have the people that keep those people in check. The people that get a little bit more to keep those people in the place that they are in and make it seem like they actually fighting for them.
And when you was on the plantation, our people, when we was on the plantation in slavery, trust and believe it was a nigga that was listening going to snitch.
Absolutely. Because he got a little bit more. Because he got a little bit more. Thank you, Jack. That's exactly what it is. When I said classism, people said this dude don't even believe racism exists. See, there's some trigger words, racism and a few other things that, you know, that's the word that the other side has to have in order to engage, to make it engaging. I don't need that. I don't need to simplify it. I don't have to use, and this is where me and Marquetta might differ. She don't really use a lot of racism, but she understands classism. All I'm saying to you is, when you look at how classes are put together, it ain't got no color when it comes down to how things are, how people live off each other. Like, there are people in Africa right now that are living below poverty, are living below what you call poor in America. And it's that way, and it's their own people that got them living that way. And then there's some people in them same villages that act like your leaders and act like they under control and they fighting for you, and they ain't keeping those people in those positions because they're getting just a little bit more than those people that they fighting for. And they keep those conditions wide, just the way they are. And
so I'm saying directly to the working class, that's mostly Black Americans,
okay,
the essential workers. I'm saying you have the power, you can do it. Anything that you want to do, we can. We are Americans.
People don't want to hear that.
We done did it before.
Girl, you better shut your mouth. They don't want to hear that. Don't nobody want to hear that.
And we can do it again. You just got to stop hating each other. That is our biggest obstacle.
They don't want to hear that.
The biggest obstacle that we have as Black Americans is we don't have a brotherhood and sisterhood like we had when I was growing up in the 80s.
You want to hear the craziest thing in the world, Marquetta? Then I got to kind of go. I'm gonna let you have that last word. I'm gonna let you have that last word, I promise. But I want to tell you this little story right here of what you're saying. Sometimes it's not about hating each other. It's about trusting one another and believing that we are capable, having the faith in one another. Let me tell you a quick story, 30 seconds. I remember being around some people in the city of Cincinnati. All right. I probably shouldn't have put my city on it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. These young guys, these particular dudes had a dream. Everybody have a dream, right? Everybody want to be successful. Everybody, I don't know anybody that don't want to be successful, but they all had this dream about building something, and we can all do it together. And they had who they needed. I was right there with them. But for some odd reason, I'm gonna say this the best way I know how. They didn't have the confidence that I was able to do what the pizza man was able to do in Cincinnati. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Like the pizza man, the rich white dude. All right. He got the name recognition. He got the money. He got everything. You don't have what he has. But what's crazy is they had me and my confidence and what I wanted to do. They had my loyalty more than the other dude. You understand? He ain't thinking about them. They actually are opportunities for him, for him. Me, I'm looking at, let's build this. I'm here. Whatever he's willing to contribute, I'll put that same kind of money in. But you ever heard that old phrase, the white man's ice is better than ours? Yeah, their ice is colder than ours. I've never said anything outside of whatever. And I wanted to do a collaboration with the individual, the white dude. And I told everybody, whatever he put up, I'll match it. Whatever he's willing to put up into your future, I'll match it so you'll have double. But that's not believable amongst us. You understand what I'm saying? It's not believable amongst us. They want him. They don't want me. They don't want what I'm capable of doing. And you know what? It wasn't just that individual white dude who was maybe lightweight hating. He got his information about me from guess who? People that look like me. See what I'm saying? Because those people that look like me didn't want me in that circle of success with that white dude. They wanted me to be back here. And not to mention that the white dude kind of like failure from people. I said it yesterday, sometimes people want to be the big man in the room, so they'll surround themselves with people that need them. It's kind of hard for those type of egos to be in the room with somebody that don't necessarily need them, that can do the same thing that they do. If I'm bringing the same kind of money to the table that you're bringing, I should be looked upon as an asset, not a threat. But when you're doing business with people like that, folks, if you're looked upon as a threat, don't do business with them. They probably not going to do business with you. But don't look to do business with someone and they look at you based on the opinions of some people that can't do what you can do. People put in certain people's ears the things that they want that person to know about you because they don't want y'all to work in a collaboration because they'll be left behind. But then there's another situation where the guy, he don't want to do business with you because now maybe the other people will grab it. He's afraid to lose the people that need him.
You may be losing dependence.
Exactly. He's afraid to lose the people that need. And see, that's where we go wrong because the ice is not colder. The work is still the same. And if I got what's the difference between his 50,000 and my 50,000? What would be the difference other than the fact that I'm putting everybody in a position to have a stake in the game?
A photo op and being able to take a picture next to a white man to make yourself seem like you fought higher up on the food chain. Or
there you go.
Did something.
There you
I
go.
hate to say that, but that's what
but sis, we got to keep it 100 because don't nobody have a problem. They don't have a problem calling me a name or like trying to say that I'm something. But when I start talking like this is a level that they're not on this level of dealing with the same people they defend. They're not at that level. They tend to defend nonsense. I won't call it nonsense. It's their shit. They want to defend these positions that they only know and hear about, but they're not involved in. And I'm trying to tell you that we have internal problems that have to be fixed before you expect to fix any external.
Yes, brother. That's all I be trying to say.
That's all it is.
How you gonna worry me about the Ku Klux Klan when I can't make it out my door without worrying about somebody, my neighbor, getting a woman at that being shot in the face? That's some sick stuff. But I just want to reiterate to you and to your audience, do not get overwhelmed by the political theater that we're about to see go down in this country. Hold tight. And remember, every problem has a solution. Everybody that's born right now in this day and time, the universe, the ancestors called you forward right now. It's something in you that you can do that maybe you don't know you can do because you're too busy working for the white man. Maybe it takes us losing our positions with white society in life so that we can look on our inside and figure out what other skills and talents that we have that could be beneficial to the rest of the world. We are all interdependent. And as Black Americans, we have to learn to become interdependent on each other again so that we can provide goods and services. The white man is bound to drop you. Our ancestors have been telling us that for years. That's why the demand for reparations is out there. But even if they don't, you still can. If your kids don't know nothing about history, go make a YouTube history channel.
That's all you got to do.
You can create cartoons with the technology that's available. If you can get on Facebook, you can do all of this. Chat GPT, you can write a book.
Absolutely.
You're a good grandma. And most of us are good parents. We love our kids and our grandkids. Start teaching, writing books on good touch, bad touch. Your beautiful black hair. I mean, I have a time with my youngest brother.
I gotta ask you a question. I'm sorry, I cut you, but I gotta ask you a question before you get out of here. What do you think about this announcement from the ex press secretary, Karine Pierre? Later.
She was lying her tail off the whole time, and she can't. Like Kamala Harris signed with SAG, so she's a part of the Actors Guild now. She can get bookings for speeches, write books. She can go on a TV show. Corinne, her whole career was defending the legacy of the Biden administration, and the Biden administration was lying daily. She was being called out on her lies every day. We watched it.
Right.
We knew she was lying.
Right.
She doesn't have any other way to make money. She's a pariah. She's a political pariah. They're not going to accept her on MSNBC. They're not going to accept her on Fox. So she's doing what she know to do: create money. She got an opportunity. It's a problem. She creating an opportunity. So she writing the book. She gonna sell it
I'm
all.
shocked that she's not going to, that she didn't get a network deal. You said Fox. I don't see her going to Fox because
she can't get no network deal.
Well,
who want to listen to that? We didn't want to listen to Joy Reid.
Well, that's true, but and I guess that might have slowed her down a little bit because Joy Reid was pretty popular there and it didn't work out. But I was thinking that she would get like what Jen Psaki got. She got with MSNBC. She started out with Biden, and I would have thought she would have went somewhere like that, or even CNN as some type of, you know, special guest, a co-host, or something of that nature. It was shocking to me that she came out how she came out with the I'm going to the independent side and I'm going to talk about how crazy this, not crazy, how she said how corrupt, not corrupt, but she used a term about how crazy the White House was. Okay. I don't know off the top of my head what that term was. I don't want to use certain language because it'll look like that I'm making it more than what it is, like corruption and all that. I don't want to think that way. But the chaotic way that the White House was being run and the things that was going on with the backstabbing and stuff like that. She's writing a book. Now, to be honest with you, sis, I believe it's a big grift, but she's not the first one. You're looking at all the media people who doing the same thing, and these are the same people that defended the stuff in broad daylight.
She got a story to tell. She got to sell. The game is to be told and sold. You know, Jake Tapper wrote his book, and he said he didn't vote for either. He voted for a third party. He independent. But when you was out there, you was cussing everybody out for telling you this man just confused Trump for Putin.
Right.
At the podium.
So now let me ask you something. Let me ask you this. Was it far-fetched? Now, I value your opinion. Was it far-fetched of my argument of the 25th Amendment to get Joe Biden out? If they would have done what
I was saying that. Even though people was cussing me out. She had every right to invoke the 25th Amendment. The president was obviously disabled. It looked like Mr.
But why
Magoo.
isn't anybody talking about that? Why? You know what? They love her so much. They were down for it. They thought she was capable of doing the job, and maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. I don't know. But if you could be the vice president, I would think that you could be the president. I mean,
she should have showed leadership and executive decision-making capability.
You know what killed it?
Pulling the party together to oust Biden because he was sick. He got, you know how much urine with blood in it that man had produced in 10 years with a PSA. He's talking about he got prostate cancer 5. It's like the end of the road, dude. Right. You know how long he had to be having symptoms, falling down, can't stand. That's all because his prostate was failing.
Right. But
then not to get it checked for 10 years and you got the best health care in the country. That's just a smack in the face.
Yeah. Well, I just think that she would have stood a better shot if she would have moved, if they would have done what they needed to do. And instead of defending those situations and you know, I think they would have had a better shot at winning that. But that's just my opinion. But it just shows me that, you know, they didn't have a problem covering up certain things. And if I was a voter on that side, I would have to be questioning people. I think I don't have a problem with Democrats. I don't have a problem with Republicans. I know what all of it is all about. I just think that there's a younger, and I will say this about the Democrats. I think that once they clear out the old shelves of Democrats, it can be a better party. I think,
but they fighting David Hogg now.
Yeah, but I think once the young, and I'm gonna be honest with you,
they already fighting him.
I think once the young folks get into if the young folks decide to take over the Democratic Party, it might be a party that's going in the right direction for what they really stand on. And I don't mean the ones that are the far left situations and all of that. I'm talking about the younger generations who probably want it to be what it's supposed to be. And once they get the old heads out of there, I think it'll
Let me say
this
to you. David Hogg is the vice president of the Democratic National Convention. He is one of the survivors of the Parkland shootings in Florida. He is about 25 or 26 now. They voted him in over a black gay man. David Hogg said, I want to put $20 million against established Democrats because they do not act in our interests. We want to unseat them and run other people who are potential Democratic
Is
contenders
that a
against those who seat in. They're
is
trying
that
to
the
kick him
young
out the
is
party.
that the younger guy that's
Yeah, that's the white boy that's out here right
and
now.
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know what he stand on. I don't know what type of Democrat he is. But look, man, there's policies and look, man, I grew up a Democrat. I grew up in my mother and I grew up that way. There are things in the Democratic Party that I stand on. I could live by some of the things, the policies that are there. I understand them. I just think that it's gone too far sometimes. All right. I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem with the fact that there's a lot of left out information that could move us,
I'm sick of these grandstanding Negroes who use their U.S. citizenship that our ancestors fought for people from other countries. When Khalif Browder was sitting up
that's one of the things that
in
pisses me
Rikers
off.
Island for 3 years under the Obama administration, nobody came to check on a 16-year-old boy in an adult prison who was being harmed and beat up by both staff and prisoners for 3 years. By the time he got out, he was so soul shook and he committed suicide. And then his mama died of a broken heart. Nobody talks about Khalif Browder, though. But you're worried about somebody from Venezuela coming back here for due process. And the due process is to send their ass back home. We're at a point, Black Americans, we have to take pride in your citizenship. People die to get here, to be where you at. People using our 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment comes because Dred Scott was deemed not an American citizen. He didn't have to be respected. We fought for the 14th Amendment. We fought. Our people fought. It wasn't Venezuelans. It wasn't Mexicans. We fought for the 14th Amendment and we got citizenship. We are American citizens. Your passport say America. You go anywhere in the world, they're going to look at you and they're going to say you Black, but you Black American.
Right.
And for that, like every other group, you don't see Chinese people out here worried about 2025. You don't see the Indians crying about Trump. You don't see any other ethnic group except for those who don't belong in the country crying. Black Americans, you are a powerful group of people. Very powerful. We create the culture, we create the climate, we create the sports. The economy is based off of what we do. You can do it. Whatever far-fetched idea that you have, start working on it. Start planning and executing, considering your customer base, consider your skills, consider how you can transfer your skills. We're going to need you to create an economy for us. We're going to need you. We're going to need our men to stand up to these weak niggas who like to shoot and kill and tell them we ain't having that no more. We need for you to get a skill, go to work, pay a tax, raise a child. We need our men to say we're going to protect our women. They're not whores. All of them are not disposable people because they got children and a daddy ran off on them. We're going to protect them and their kids. That's what we have to do for ourselves. The government is not going to come in and tell you to protect yourself. The government is not going to say the Klan is coming, go protect you, get your guns. No, the community should stay ready so you ain't got to get ready, but you can do it. Anything that's in your mind, anything that's possible, you can do it. And stop listening to people who tell you can't. All right, White, I'm tired of
No. I got a co-host. I'm just glad to hear somebody else say it. I mean, that's all you ever do. You always saying it. So I'm glad to hear it. I just, sometimes you get a lot of flack because you're a woman who say it. And here I am, a man that say the same thing. So we just gonna let their ass be mad today, okay? We just gonna let
we can do it, y'all. We can do it. Go ahead and listen, love on each other. Like I said, it's a war out here to have a loving, functional, reciprocal, polite, conducive, growing your economy and growing your home and making it peaceful. That's war. It is war. When I tell you people love to see us in chaos, love to see us fighting.
Yep.
They love it. It is a literal genre of entertainment on the internet. Black people fighting.
Well,
Black
it's not
women
only
fighting,
entertainment,
men
sis.
fighting.
It's not only entertainment, it's actually strategy. You got to understand, yeah, for some it may be entertainment, but for others it's actually strategy. You know, that old saying, if you divide, you can conquer. It's actually a real thing. And as long as they can keep, and here's the thing, we got some people that in our group that look like us, they are the majority of one way of thinking. And I would be okay, like I'm cool with y'all being who you are. I don't call you a name or make you feel bad because of what you like and who you vote for and all that. That's not what it is. But you can't say the same. Every time I try to make a point or you try to make a point, you got to use derogatory to make me out to be the dummy. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm dumb for feeling the way I am. I'm not an independent because I'm not a Democrat. So is Kareem is she going to be a real, I mean, what do you say about somebody that leaves the Democrat Party and they go off to be an independent? Are they
That's the third one this week?
Right, I know, but are they going to say that those are really Republicans, or are they going to be like, those are people that really want to start thinking like she said, outside the box and thinking different? Because that lady way intelligent to be talking the way she was talking up on that stage about a lot of shit she was defending. She ain't no dummy.
Oh my God. And she was like, oh my God. But that's how they use black women.
I already know. I've been said it. We said that along. You just got to be careful, because when you say certain things, it's taken the wrong way. But then sometimes you can't care who take it the wrong way. If they don't like it, they shouldn't be here.
Them brothers took their gloves off on me. And when I tell you, like I said, you know, and I hate to say it, but it has to be said. Our men have been emasculated. And sometimes the only way that you can get and feel powerful and macho is if you run down on a woman. If you got a woman subjugated and got her looking stupid for you because she might love you or like you. Sometimes that's the only way you can get power. And when it comes to black men, it's the same thing.
Let me tell you
something.
don't
Want a strong black man, because then if you strong, what am I?
Well, let me say something to that. And I'm probably guilty at one point in my life of being this way. And this is why I say what I say, and a lot of women don't like it, especially us. But if you're raised by a woman, you generally deal with shit like a woman. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? If you don't have a male role model in your life, if you don't have a man in waking up, if you waking up like women and doing things like women do, you're going to handle your situations and you're going to deal with the world like a woman does. I just don't think men and women are built the same when it comes down to problem solving and doing things. Women have a great way of dealing with certain issues. Men have a great way of dealing with certain issues. I think that men have to be raised by men so they can handle shit like men. Some people might think in a negative way, oh, what you mean? Teach them how to fight, teach them how. No. There's a certain way that men have to deal with women, and only a man could teach another man how to do that. A woman is only going to teach another man, is only going to teach her son how to deal with a woman the way. That's why you see men. Look, that's why you see so many men out here slapping women. That's why you see so many women out here on the videos showing their ass to get a man instead of covering their body and showing something other than their body. Because they know what they're trying to attract. Listen, a man is going to teach his son that's the wrong thing to go after. But when you got women who raising boys who are actually doing that shit, they're watching their mama come up on dudes, and that's how their mama got a dude. So that's the kind of woman that they're gonna go after. If you really think about it, most guys, this is not gonna go over well with a lot of people. Most guys end up with women like their mama. I don't know if y'all really believe that or not, but most men who grow up in two-family homes, mama was married to the daddy. Those are the guys that's out here getting married. The guys who are married to who grew up in a house and his mama.
I hear you, brother.
No.
Married men, some of the most single motherfuckers.
Yes, that can be. That can
be. They don't even respect their marriages.
No. I'm not saying everything's perfect, sis. I'm talking. Okay. Look. First of all, let me just say this. You could be right about it. There are some guys that don't respect their vows and things of that nature. Nobody's missed the good bar. All I'm saying to you is there's still ways that you learn. See, this is what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to being a man. No man is ever going to be perfect. Okay, but life is not about being perfect. Sometimes you have the worst people in the world. You ever seen how gangsters do shit out? I'm talking about real gangsters. I ain't talking about these dudes that call themselves gangsters. I'm talking about guys that use organized crime to feed their family. But then when they come home, they're a family man and they send their kids to the best schools and this and this and that. They don't involve their families into the shit that they're into out in the streets. You ever seen situations like that? Yeah, okay, but that don't mean that this man, because of what he's doing out in the streets, he's not a good father to his family, because he might do everything right at home and his kids not know anything about what he's doing, and he's setting an example of how to be a father at the house. He not necessarily setting the example of how to be a crook because he kept that out their life. I'm not saying every man is perfect. All I'm saying to you is a man that comes from a family where he had a mother and a father, that father, if he's being if he's a real father, he's teaching that son how to be a husband. Okay, maybe not the gangster, and nothing is perfect. But
I got a god brother. My godparents raised me. My mother once upon a time was cool, but after a point in time she wasn't. But my godparents, like I always tell you, my godfather was just who you're talking about. He was a hunter. He was a fisherman. The brother used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to put his army fatigue on, get his bow and arrow to go shoot some squirrel, a deer, a rabbit. He was just that type of man. He would go fishing. Everybody, when he came home from fishing, get ready to scale that fish. When a man is acting in his role, everybody else get behind him in their role.
Right.
But when he's not in his role, it's chaos.
Right.
And that's my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
No. It makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, generally, guys who raise households or boyfriends that are in the household that beat women, they raise they raise women beaters. Okay, and that's just how it go. That's just how most guys that are acting out and doing what they doing, they learned it from somewhere, just like anything else. And we may not want to admit to that, but the problem is we have a bigger internal problem than we do any other problem. We can talk about presidents, we could talk about how bad they are, how good they are. It don't really have anything to do with how you raise your family in the house, because our best times in life was during the worst times in America for us.
Sure enough. Write that book. Write that cookbook. Write that self-help guide. Write those books, y'all. ChatGPT will help you. Write that book. Once you dead, whatever you know is gone. We are the sum total of our thoughts. Absolutely. So once you gone, whatever knowledge that you gained in life is gone too. Pass it on. It is children out here who being made and being abandoned by both parents.
Yep.
And being left to the foster care system. Then the foster care system gonna get them and they're gonna feed them to that flag, and that flag is gonna turn them out. It's a little boy right now. I just seen a story. Man raped the 8-year-old and gave him HIV. We gotta get to a point in our community where you 60-something years old. If you even think about doing something like that, you already know it's a bunch of, if the GDs was in their proper order, this gonna come get you and handle you for touching a child like that. We don't have no fear of repercussions on each other from bad people. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We should be in our community policing ourselves. Nah, little girl, how did you 14? Nah, you can't talk to him. He can't talk to you. He 27. Nah, it ain't gonna be no pimping on this block. No, it ain't gonna be you selling whatever you trying to sell, honey. You got to go in the house. It's 9 o'clock. We have to become like that to protect our DNA for the future. The next 20 to 30 years, we're about to be in a bad way, y'all. Yeah. You can do it, though. God or whoever you believe in sent you sent you right now to help, because the earth needs people to help. It's more, the more people that we can get on the good side, the harder it's going to be for the evil side to win. But y'all, we can do it. Don't get discouraged. Don't feel like it's over. Don't be scared of Trump, Biden, or nobody else. We are the descendants of those they could not kill. I just think
that we got to get the chaos out of the way. We have to understand, okay, if we were sitting down in a boardroom and we were starting a new company. Let's just say Black folks were a company right now. How would we start a new company? We would ask, what's the objective? First of all, we couldn't all go in different directions. Okay, you have to what's our ultimate goal? What do we want to conquer first? Okay, that's the first thing. But that seems to not be some people think that if you concentrate on all these different things, then we'll get everything done. And I believe it's a concentration. I believe that you should take one little thing
One thing
at a time. And but for some odd reason, when you bring up the argument of, well, you know, you like the Benjamin Crumps and stuff like that, well, people think that he's doing a justice and doing some, like, some people concentrate on civil rights, and then some people concentrate on this, and some people concentrate on that. And I understand it. It sounds smart. It sounds good. But how it's like being stuck in neutral or stuck in mud. It's not working. What it does is it's more divisive, because you don't, if everybody got on the same page and handle one particular thing, and I'm not the one to get everybody on the same argument at one time. That's not my job, because I would start somewhere else and others would want to start in another place. You know, I just believe that, first of all, when you get into politics of this situation, it's over. Okay, Black folks don't have an, I know what you just said, we powerful in this and that. We're only powerful for us. We're not powerful for the United States of America anymore, because if you look at the Latino vote and look at how the Latinos are taking over as far as the percentage, they're twice our population. So that means they're over us in voting.
And
so
they racist.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know why people don't understand that they did not come here with the love in their heart for Black folks. They have love in their heart for Latinos. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's why they had their own culture. That's why they wave in Brooklyn. That's why they wave in the Puerto Rican flag. They have brought their culture here, and it don't include you.
Don't include you, honey.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
They think you messing up their bloodline if they mate with you.
Oh, listen.
Same thing with Westmoreland. You from Jamaica, they feel the same way. But what I'm saying, like, it's a case right now in Cincinnati, Sun Valley Apartments. My African hair braider used to live down there, and she got a house now. Thank God, she got a house now, and they got a whole assembly line of braiders down in her basement. I'd be cracking up. But when she lived in Sun Valley Apartments, the place was trash. It was a slum, and the city let it become that. And it was on the news that the property was owned by an Israeli veteran who had finessed the property out of its original owners, because they had a notary who was just basically signing off on all of the real estate.
I seen that. I seen that on the news.
So we lose housing. We lose housing. We're losing housing because we're not in control.
There's one that's even worse than that. There's one even worse than that. There's things that people don't even know. That I don't look, I'm not here to be telling off all these different stories and stuff, because they got enough people with enough stories, and there's so much. You got guys, you know, I don't want to pull names, but there's people that talk about Africa and all that old shit, and they don't know what they can say whatever they want to say, but they ain't even been there. So I'm sorry. But let me just say, we've lost land just by states taking it, counties taking it. Black folks have had land in Ohio. They've had land. Let me just say this one last thing, sis, before on this land thing. We sell things instead of maintaining them and keeping them. And when it comes to land, one of my clients, he is, okay, I don't think this really matters, but I just want to let you know. He's a gay man. He's a hairdresser, and his grandfather left them tons of land in Mason, Ohio. This man is so successful at hairdressing. At one point, for a couple years, he was, I shouldn't say this because some of y'all might know who it is, but I'm gonna say it because this is actually like a shout out to him for this. He was so successful at one time as being a hairdresser, sis. He was Tony Braxton's hairdresser at one time, okay, for about a year or two. His grandfather left him and his 6 siblings a bunch of land up in Mason, Ohio. Guess what they did with it?
They sold it.
They sold it. They sold it. And the person they sold it to, guess who they sold it to? Kings Island. Acres of land that he could have sold to Kings Island. But I'm assuming that the family got finessed. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
They ended up selling it to someone else, and then within 2 to 3 years, it was announced that water park, the
expansion,
all that expansion up there in Mason was going on through Kings Island. Now, Kings Island been there since 1971, 72. This shit happened in, I'm assuming, like 2000. It was probably about it was before the water park got there. It took them a year and a half to develop that development up there. What we tend to do is we do what all Black successful people have done in this country when we finally get something that's a hit, and we get something that we can get residual income off of and we can pass to our families. They always sell it. And then we go back to the drawing board. We had a Black dealership in the city of Cincinnati, Kingswood Chrysler Plymouth. That's where I was trying to get an MID program and get a minority, development ownership deal in. The one and only Black guy who had it, Mr. Chamblee, he was from Pittsburgh, wasn't even a Cincinnatian, came to Cincinnati, got an MID program, took money from Cincinnatians for 5 years. And as soon as that contract of the MID program was over, he sold the dealership for a couple $1 million to some white people in Cincinnati. Do you understand? And that might sound like a come up to some people, and they'll be like, shit, I'll take the money too. But when you have programs set up to put legacy and to put family wealth in place, y'all got to know these things are actually out there, so you'll understand why I get so upset when I say what we need to do. Because there's some people that don't even know those programs exist, and you keep thinking that we can't do it. There's a lot of people that do it. You just don't know that they're doing it because they selling out at the end of it, or they ended up, there are still some. I'm gonna say the one Ford deal, Mel Farr. I don't know if he's still in Cincinnati. Can somebody help me out with that? I'm about to go, but just let me know tomorrow. Mel Farr is Black-owned Ford dealership in the Cincinnati area, and I think he sold to the Kemper Group, which are white dudes, or Sweeney, one of them. And I could be wrong on that, but I heard through people who are in that industry that he ended up selling his dealership. And I'm saying to myself, we have all these different opportunities to do these things, and they're set up through the Chrysler Corp, through other places. And instead of looking out down the line and not necessarily saying it's my responsibility to show the Black community that we can be successful, so I'm going to hold on to this. But in a sense, if that's the same sentiment that got you that dealership and open the doors for you, there is an obligation for you to keep that idea and that thing open and keep it Black owned, because that's what got you there. It was the fact that we needed these businesses in the first place. It's almost like giving somebody 40 acres in the land, or 40 acres in some land, or giving them a reparations check, and then they know you're going to spend it up and give it back to the people that gave it to you, and now they don't have to owe you anymore. You see what I'm saying? Do something productive with that money. That money was given to you in reparations of what your people went through and what was taken from your bloodline. That don't mean go out and jack off the money. It means do something that's going to put your future family in a better position.
Well, let experience be our teacher. You can't get nothing back from the past but knowledge. So now that we know, next time, hopefully it is the next time. Hopefully we can get people
so many,
into buying cars wholesale and stuff.
I'm never going to say there can't be a next time, but sometimes the iron only strike one time.
Yeah, that's so true. You know they're about to make the Black Panther white.
I can't wait to see it.
They about to make the white black. It's gonna be Ryan Coogler. All right,
wait a minute. Whoa.
Thank you.
Did you say that they about to make Black Panther but a white boy? What'd you say?
The white man
Panther
is about to be the Black Panther.
Oh, come on,
don't do the Marvel comic. I grew up on Marvel comics. My cousin used to have like hundreds and hundreds of them.
So the Black Panther gonna be a white dude?
Maybe not in the movie, but he is in the cards. He is in the comic.
Oh man, stop this shit. I didn't know Black. I wasn't a comic book dude growing up. I did baseball cards and shit like that. I was a baseball head. I played with baseball cards. I wasn't a comic book dude though.
And that's another thing. Draw some books. Write some comic books. Anything that you see, because I've heard it said that everything has already been done. We don't need a new stove. We don't need a new air fryer. We don't need a new microwave. Everything has already been created and done. That's not true.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what trips me out about what you just said. I know it's not true. And how I know it's not true is because the most, majority of millionaires in this country now are first-time money getters. Okay, a lot of people, and especially black folks, we like to think that the reason why people are rich is because it was passed down money, but that's not necessarily true. A lot of millionaires in this country are first-time money getters, and you know where they get their money from? Tech world. A lot of technical, like tech world, the website building and being into technical tech, the tech field. That's where a lot of people get their money from these days. And a lot of these people, men and women who have become millionaires by doing tech jobs, they didn't have a lot of money growing up. They're first-time millionaires. They didn't come from millionaire homes and things of that nature. So if they can do it, we can do it too. We're actually doing it. But what happens is a lot of people don't really put us out there like that. You understand what I'm saying? Like the 15-year-old that's making $1 million sitting at home right now that's black is not the same 15-year-old back when I was 15. It's just not the same person. The whole media is totally different. That 15-year-old today is not thinking like we were thinking back then, and they're getting their money. What's that Kai
Cenat? He's worth over $10 million, and he's created other millionaires by teaching them how to stream and
what I'm talking about.
Use brand deals to bring affiliate marketing to their channel, so that as they're talking, they're also placing a brand within their stream and getting a residual income, not just from the stream, but also from the affiliate business.
Right. And that's what I'm talking about. Those things
can do it.
Them things can be done. They can absolutely be done. All right, Marquetta, I gotta go.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you. Thanks for engaging with us. That was Marquetta. Listen, man, I'm gonna end it by what Marquetta said. We can do it. We can definitely do it. But I'm just gonna say this to the folks in the back of the room, the people who wait for me to go political so they can keep on bringing up Trump. It's funny how they say this now. It's funny how they say this, because it's not like it hasn't been said through this microphone before. Let's not talk about Biden. Let's talk about Trump. He's the president. Well, your boy was saying that 3 years ago. I was saying, why y'all so talking about Trump? Biden is the president. It's just funny how you forget. See, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. It ain't fun when you have to speak about accountability. You'll be surprised. I'll be honest with you. I hear people that voted for Trump. I don't hear a lot of them boo-hoo whining and crying. I don't hear a lot of them boo-hoo whining and crying like I hear the Democrats boo-hoo and whining and crying and writing books about how bad Biden is. I ain't seen one book come out yet that's talking about how Trump is bad from the people that supported him. I haven't seen one yet. I haven't seen one person from the Republican Party leave and start an independent party or go over to the Democrats. I haven't seen it yet. Not yet. When that happens, I guess we'll see. I don't know. But that's just how I feel. Look, let's get out of the politic game, y'all. Let them do what they gonna do. That ain't gonna stop us. That ain't gonna stop us from doing what we gotta do. You're going to understand that once you get to a certain level, when it comes down to the quam, when it comes down to the bank, when it comes down to the money, they're going to need you. If all they need from you is a vote, that's not enough. For them to want your vote plus your support, I'm talking about financially, then you become an asset to them. But until then, man, shit. They done did everything from put Beyonce out there. They done gave Roland Martin $500,000. They done gave other people all these hundreds of thousands of dollars. They done did these fake makeshift things. They done fake motherfucker under the hood like he changing the oil. They done did all this entertainment stuff to get their support, and it didn't work. So we as folks that look like me, look like you, we should fall back and step back and say, well, where are we at? What we need to do something that's a little bit different than what they doing, because it ain't really benefiting us. Matter of fact, they even got us out here fighting for DEI when in fact we're only 20%, if 20%, recouping benefits from DEI. We're the last on the list. That would make me feel crazy if I'm at school protesting. If I'm a Muslim and I'm at school protesting lunch because lunch ain't healthy, or something that I shouldn't say a Muslim because they don't eat pork. But if I'm a person that don't eat certain food, but I'm at school protesting and it's protesting something that's not in my best interest, they want unhealthy food, but I'm a healthy food eater. Why would I be outside protesting just because the majority of everybody in school want unhealthy food, but I don't live that way? Why, if it's not going to benefit me, why would I be on the side of just the majority, just to be part of the majority? I don't get that. Maybe that was a bad explanation. I'm just saying. I just never understood group thinking folks. Peace and love to everybody. That's my time. I'll see you guys on the next one.
Young Money. Yeah. So. I tell her, knock down, pop that pussy for a real nigga. I already know that life is deep, but I still dig her. Niggas is jealous, but really I could care less. I'm in Hell's Kitchen with an apron and a hairnet. Devil on my shoulders, the Lord is my witness. So on my Libra scale, I'm weighing sins and forgiveness. What goes around comes around like a hula hoop. Karma is a bitch, well just make sure that bitch is beautiful. Life on the edge, I'm dangling my feet. I tried to pay attention, but attention paid me. Haters can't see me, nosebleed seats. And today I went shopping, and talking still cheap. I rock to the beat of my drum set. I've been at the top for a while and I ain't jumped yet. But I'm Ray Charles to the bullshit, and I jump up on that dick and do a full split. She just started to pop it for a nigga and look back and told me, baby, it's real. And I say I ain't doubt you for a second. I squeeze it and I could tell how it feel. I wish we could take off and go anywhere but here, baby, you know the deal. And she bad, so maybe she won't, but shit, then again, maybe she. Don't you act that funny, don't you act that funny, don't you act that funny, black and teardrop. Hey. Why would I ever trip on my spot when I earned it? Y'all lacking discernment. They probably gon' talk about tonight at the next sermon. Difference is you do it on purpose, and me, I do it for a purpose. Just know as long as I'm up, that it's never your turn in. Look, they must have forgot that I'm my daddy's son. And if I'm after them, they have to run. Okay, you had a run. Difference is we the ones that run it. Discipline is the difference between who got it and who won it. They rather count me out than count me in. Always count on me, y'all boys counterfeit. Ain't rolling with the punches, boy, I counted it. Y'all really judging me and I can't honor it. See, I was born in the ashes, so of course I rise. I'm in that state of mind for real, y'all just borderline. I wake up to look inside my daughter's eyes and realize I'm immortalized. Born in the ashes, so of course I rise. It's diamonds on my gold. They must have forgot that I'm my daddy's son. We the ones that run it. Born in the ashes, so of course I rise. It's diamonds on my gold. They must have forgot that I'm my daddy's son. Fighting for my life. We the ones that run it. Yeah, I've been under fire so long, but he made a shine out of cold. It's diamonds on my gold. Loyalty take a toll on my soul, but I can't fold. Red snow made my heart cold. Up close on his clothes like I'm trying to scan a barcode. Demon hit the gas pipe, sound like pop smoke. I wasn't nervous or nothing, I seen it locked in on. Come from where a hot stove can heat up your house cold. Came back tobacco, but head of his household. Pack chrome, still face, they all say he act grown. Survivors of a tap phone, build up his backbone. You gotta know the trap code, don't call to the pack bone. Fighting for my life, refuse to end up a sad song. Yeah. Fighting for my life, refuse to end up a sad song. Yeah. Start.